I need you to understand, overstand, understand. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand. Brother Jose.
Sí, señor, ¿cómo está?
Peace and love, good brother. You got any time to slide by today?
Sí, tengo 5 minutos.
As soon as possible. How soon can you get here?
15 minutos, 20.
601 East 17th Street, Wilmington.
Ok.
We're right around the corner from the Boys and Girls Club.
Sí, comprende.
601 East 17th Street, Wilmington, Delaware.
Comprende, sí. Can I come now? Why are you sniffing? You sniff time? What's going on? Turn the heat down.
Yes, sir. I need you to look at two things, Brother Jose.
Okay.
The first thing is the HVAC unit on our small gym has to be switched out.
Sí.
The company that produced the existing unit can replicate another unit.
¿Qué?
I just need to find a tech who is able to replace the unit when the new one has completed production.
Okay, no problema.
Which will take about 60 days, the company has told me.
¿Qué?
So I need you to look at it, let me know if you can do it, and what will the cost be for you to remove this old one, put the new one in, and the new one is going to look identical to the old one, but it's a more modern version.
¿Qué? No comprende.
We're going to buy the unit.
Okay.
Okay, so that's number one. I want you to look at that. Number two
is
on the small school, Brother Jose.
Okay.
We have a roof unit that has to be replaced.
¿Qué?
We've already got the new unit produced. It is sitting in storage. But I have not been able to find a tech who can get the permit, block off the street, bring the crane, lift the new unit up on top of the school, tie it all in. So that unit has been sitting. It was delivered on November the 1st.
November?
And it's been sitting there for 3 months, Jose. So,
Tres?
And it's the same unit. All we did was order a replica of what's up there because it was custom made.
Pero no comprende. Don't make no sense, my friend. Okay? You go where you want me to come. I can look. You tell me what you want.
I'm not sure because it went straight to storage, and I'll share with you where that is. But it's supposed to be identical. It's supposed to be identical to the one up there. It is at a crane yard, and I have the address. It's not far from the school.
Is a crane yard? You say crane yard, huh? You too funny.
Okay.
Huh? Sí, pero tú tengo the
yes, sir.
Huh? The money? You have the money? I got ¿cuánto? Tell me how much you pay.
No problem. I'm here waiting on you. Keep me posted.
How much?
Okay. Thanks, Jose. All
Hello?
right.
Hello? All right, Cookie Crush Chat, thank you so much for tuning on in. Shout out to Brother Jose. Thank you for your patience. We got quite a bit to get into. Cookie Crush Chat is undefeated. Let's go. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's 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 coming. Oh, it's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking. Brother Jose, no, Umar is muy loco en la cabeza. If y'all have anything you want me to read in Spanish, just let me know, okay? I can read it, okay? I can kind of understand it a little bit better, but I can't really speak it all that well. Shout out to the Cook Crush. Thank y'all so much for tuning on in. I apologize for the delay. Just had a lot going on, children back in school, and I've been running around trying to get stuff together, and my anxiety is up. Everything's fine. It's just, that's how I am, especially when it comes to my babies. Blood pressure up. All right. So I was looking forward to this live stream because it'll get me in it, calm down and everything. So I want to thank everyone. Also, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for tuning in, because the numbers, we've been breaking records, but also I want to thank everyone for your support over these many years. And many of you guys know me and my family, we've been through hard times. Many of you guys were there then and were helping us out. And I just want to say that things have really turned around on different levels. And I wish I could say more, but I made a decision years ago to stop sharing stuff about my family. It's more of a cybersecurity issue than anything else. But I just want to acknowledge everyone for all of your support and for helping me in my time of need, my family in our time of need. And I've done everything that I could since that time to get things on the right track. And things have really changed in very positive ways. And that would not have been possible without you all. And even more recently with people supporting in the Cook Crush chat, the camaraderie, the joy and the laughter. That's one thing I can say. When I first started doing these Umar Johnson videos consistently, which was towards the end of 2018, 2019, beginning of 2019, my orientation towards all this, it was very serious. And not that I'm not serious now, but it was, there wasn't much joy in it. But there's a lot of joy now, and it's shaped me in different ways. And a lot of it has to do with the Cook Crush chat. So I do not take that for granted. You guys have inspired levels of comedy in me that wasn't present before. So thank you guys so much. I don't want to take too much time. I just want to thank you guys from the top of my heart and on behalf of my family for all of your support. Okay, we've come a very long way as a family. We've come a very long way as a community here on YouTube, and the Cookie Crush chat is definitely undefeated. Okay, all right. We got quite a bit to get to. I told my wife I was going to live stream for like an hour, but that's not going to happen. All right, because I want to do something a little bit different during this live stream. Yesterday's live stream broke all records. Okay, most views during the live stream. Most votes on the poll question, most people simultaneously on the live stream. I think we went over 6,000. Was it 6,000? Good question. I think it was 6,000. That broke the record. Most super chats. The activity in the chat room was over the top in a positive way. So I just want to thank everyone for that too. But the thing is that everything that's going on with Umar Johnson, it's telegraphed. And that's what I want to get to here. And what I mean by telegraphed is that for instance, anyone in the Cookie Crush chat, did you kind of see, a month ago, a year ago, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, that ultimately we would get to this point when we talk about Umar Johnson, where ultimately these buildings are on the verge of being sold at auction sale? Because I had a sense even years ago that this couldn't go on forever. I didn't anticipate it going on this long, though, but that this could not go on forever, that something had to change at a certain point. And if you felt that way in the past, hit the 1, okay? A lot of this is telegraphed. A lot of this is based upon Umar's behavior going all the way back to 2014. And before, going all the way back to 2010, even before, going back to 2004, 2005, where he put in his resignation letter with the UNIA. A lot of this is telegraphed, meaning that if you look at the forensic evidence, whether that is online documentation or you look at Umar's videos, lectures, different media artifacts, as it were, a lot of what's taking place now, including the situation with his mother, okay, with all due respect, including the situation with his daughter, right, with all due respect. A lot of this was already telegraphed, meaning that there was already evidence that it was going to get to this point inevitably. And this also includes FDMG. So I want to say this, that Umar took down the video that we covered yesterday. And that was an insightful video that Umar posted. But all of that was telegraphed. Okay? He took the video down. And the poll question is why? Why did he take that video down? Now, there's been times where Umar, he's taken things down, but, not soon after, we got on him yesterday on that video where he admits what I told people on Friday. I broke the story. He admits that these abandoned buildings are on the verge of being put on to be sold in auction at a sheriff's sale. We went on it, broke all kinds of records. And then what does Umar do? He takes the video down. Okay. Now, that's not unprecedented. Umar, he watches these videos. He's probably watching right now, and he reacts accordingly. See? But why did he take that video down? Now, there is a poll question. Let me read the poll question to you all. Why did Umar delete the video where he admitted that the FDMG bandos are about to be auctioned off? 6% say he was afraid of criticism. 9% said he knew people would see the lies. And 12% said he exposed himself as a con man. And then 73% said all of the above. Make sure you get your vote in. We're already at 1,945 votes already. Okay, get your vote in. We're already at 2,000, almost 2,700 people inside of the chat room. Okay, I mean, it's an interesting question to pose. Why did he take it down? Now, I believe that Umar realized all of these three things and more. That it wasn't a good look in the first place for him to do that video. Just like it wasn't a good look for him to go in on Lene. Just like it wasn't a good look to go in on his daughter. Just like it wasn't a good look to talk about how his bank accounts were frozen and there's a whole big story. None of it makes sense. But you guys realize that Umar is diabolical. He's like a supervillain. He planned to put out a false narrative way before he did the video yesterday. And that's what I want to get to today. That's why it's going to take a little time, but we're going to get into it. All right. Shout out to the Cookie Crush chat. Also, thanks to the mods for handling business. I really do. I just want to express gratitude today because it's been a long road. I remember we first started doing, some of you guys were around. If you were around back then, hit the one. We first started doing Umar Johnson videos. It was like a PowerPoint presentation. There was no laughter or anything like that. There was no joking around or anything like that. It was quite bland. Okay. Everything has evolved, and the numbers have. I'm just grateful. Okay, so let me start with this. I want to give some context to what we're going to be getting into today. But first, I want to share something with you because we have a special guest tomorrow. Okay, I want to share this video with you all. Here you go.
Recently, I got a copy of Dr. Umar PhD. Recently, I got a copy of Dr. Umar Johnson's PhD dissertation, and I want to go over it with you and see what you think about it. I'll be on LenonHonor's channel on Thursday, this Thursday coming up at 7:00 p.m. EST. We're going to just go over it. I've got some notes, got some things I want to say about it. I want to hear what you think about it as well. And this is going to be pretty interesting because this is the framework. This is the blueprint. This is the foundation that would have been FDMG. This is the report. This is the dissertation that could have been FDMG laid out in 4K. So I want to see what you think about it. So I'll see you on Thursday over on LenonHonor's channel. Link will be down in the description. And until then, grace and peace.
All right. So this is the Jay Witt podcast, formerly known as Dear Woke Christian. Now I'm going to set this show up after this live stream. I'll also have a video for members only. It's a video. It's an hour. It's almost an hour long. Okay. We may do it tomorrow. We may do it tomorrow before we have this brother on. I'm not quite sure. And if we don't do it tomorrow, I'll have it for everyone on Friday for members only. And it's about a 1 hour video. And this particular version of it it's not censored. Okay. At some point, there's going to be another. I'm probably chop it up for YouTube, for everyone, where it will be censored. Okay. So that's something for you members to look forward to. And then for everyone, tomorrow we will have this brother on the show, and what we'll do is we'll go through the dissertation. What I'm going to do, I haven't actually looked at it yet. He did send me a copy. It's a PDF copy, and to the best of my knowledge, he's the first person out of all these years who's been able to get a hold of this Umar's dissertation. And the brother sent me a copy, and I asked him, he asked him because he wanted me to present it, but he wanted me to present it initially, but then I said, no, you're the one who found it, so you should take credit for it. And I told him if he wanted me to come onto his show, then we can do that. Or if he wanted to come on to my show, we can do it that way too. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And to the best of my knowledge, he's the first person to get a hold of this. So we can look forward to that. I'm gonna try my best. I already have exported the video for you members only, the members only video. We may do that tomorrow as a live stream before we have the brother on. If not, I'll have it for you guys on Friday for members only. Okay. All right. So shout out to brother Jay Witt and his podcast. This is going to be epic because there's people on the internet who's been looking for this dissertation for years now, for many, many years. All right. Now that we got that out the way, and again, I'll set up the show after this live stream with all the information for you guys tomorrow. I want to get back to what's taking place with Umar, and I have to show this receipt. I've shown it so many times in the past. Here it is right here. This is from 2010, January 6th of 2010. Promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan African School for Black Boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend the grand opening September 11, 2013. We're in 2025 now. See, in a matter of weeks, this school will be 12 years late. That receipt is from Umar Johnson's Facebook page, his original Facebook page. In a matter of weeks, this FDMG is going to be 12 years late. And look where things are at now. Umar is facing a situation where the city of Wilmington may take these abandoned buildings from him and sell them at an auction, sheriff sale. Matter of fact, Umar took the video down that we covered yesterday, but there are people who got a hold of it, and it's been uploaded on King Kong Consciousness. You guys should look at the comments. Very few people are defending Umar on this because it's so far out of control. It shows so much in terms of what's really important to Umar. It's not about opening up a school. It's about getting money out of people. In fact, I would propose that the fact that Umar could post something like this January 6th of 2010, and in a matter of weeks, it's going to be 12 years late, this FDMG, that should be enough for anyone who has critical thinking and who's willing to look at the truth and look at the facts of this case to recognize that this is nothing more than a long con, which is something I've been telling people for many, many years. Okay. Now, what kind of got this blowed up, as it were, was the story that I broke on. I'm just giving an overview for anyone who's not familiar. I broke the story on this past Friday. And that is this receipt right here. This was posted on one of the buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. It is a munition. And what it says here is that if Umar does not pay this amount, and there's another one too that goes on to the other side of the street, and the total is $38,388.22. If he doesn't do it by the 25th of this month, then the next step would be that the city of Wilmington may proceed to sell the property herein mentioned or described for the purpose of collecting the judgment for the taxes or assessments herein stated. Now, notice it says taxes or assessment. There are no taxes that are due. All right, I've explained all of this. This is just assessment, and the largest fine or fee is the vacant registration fee. We covered this yesterday of $15,500. Okay, here's the second page right here. You can look at the city of Wilmington. They have filed this. It's a writ of motion versus Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy, Inc. Well, that's Umar Johnson. Okay, now that was on Friday. More and more people have been talking about it, which is great. And then Umar does a video in response to this, and then he takes the video down. Okay. The question is why. All right. So what I like to do, because the theme for today is how Umar, he's diabolical, and he telegraphed all this. He had a plan. Umar knew about all this before. These bills go back to 2019. In point of fact, these bills, he's on the hook, you donors are, going all the way back to 2016. Because when he purchased these properties in February of 2019, there were bills that were due. And Umar, when he purchased abandoned buildings, he's responsible for those bills. So this is nothing new. This is not something that's taking place in 2025 all of a sudden, or April of 2025. No, these bills are old. The bills for FDMG, because the first year you get a grace period, this starting on that second year, which is 2020. Now these fees start to accrue, and Umar never paid them. He goes to Africa. He's living it up. He's dancing over there, but he's not worried about paying these bills. He's throwing block parties, but he's not worried about paying these bills. He's traveling all over the world, crushing cookies, but he's not worried about paying these basic bills. You see what I'm saying here? He's wasting money on rental cars. He doesn't have his own vehicle. He's wasting money on hotel rooms, eating good. Remember that? Remember all this? Turning the heat down, airfare, all just living it up, but he's not handling basic bills. And so as a consequence, these bills piled up to the tune of $38,388.22. And because finally the city says, we've had enough of this, we're going to take this to the next step. We're going to give you 20 days. All of a sudden, Umar, he wants to play the victim, and he wants to pull the race card like it's racism. It ain't got nothing to do with racism. Any of y'all, if you don't pay your bills, there's going to be consequences one way or the other. I got to say it, hit the one. But if Umar is unwilling to pay these basic bills, why would anyone think that somehow he's in the right state of mind to open up a school and run it? And if he can't come up with $38,388.22 in 2025, how is he going to actually pay for operating costs? There's still plenty of renovation work that needs to be done, probably millions of dollars for both sides of the street. But how is he going to pay operating costs? That's not even a teacher. One teacher's salary be $38,388.22. He's still got to get IT infrastructure. You can't even get IT infrastructure with $38,388.22. Counselors, teachers, security, vice principal, I would think. He's still got to get some students, which he's going to be charging $500 a month to, in an impoverished community. None of it makes sense. It's not even fiscally viable. So why do people still believe in this? Well, guess what? More and more people are realizing the truth, which I've been telling people, not to be arrogant. I've been telling people for a long time. Umar's a con man. He has no intention of opening up a school. And in my opinion, he never intended on opening up a school. He doesn't even know how to do it. I said it before. If you're serious about doing something, then you got to be knowledgeable about what it is that you're saying that you're going to do. If you're not knowledgeable, you're not serious. You're just dreaming. You're a dreamer, and then you want other people to pay for your dream. Well, that's what Umar has done. And he's tricked it all off, because at this point, in a matter of months, these buildings can be gone. And then what? Why would Umar even allow it to get to this point if he was serious about opening up a school? Bare minimum $1.6 million raised since 2019. We're not counting 2014, 15, 16, 17, or 18. Why would Umar allow it to get to this point if he was serious? He's not. He wants cash and he wants ass. Hit the one. I should have said that. I've been wanting to say that for such a long time. I shouldn't have did it, but it's true. Okay. All right. So I've set the foundation. What I want to do now is I want to show you guys how Umar telegraphed all of this. Okay, all of this is planned. He knew what was coming down the line, and he's known for a very long time. See, we can even go back even further. When he does the vandalism video, he did that because he wanted to get money out of people. You guys remember the vandalism video? That vandalism is old. We're not going to rehash that part. We're going to pick it up where he goes in on Lenon. That's the part we're going to get into, because it gets into the bank account, the Umar's bank account, frozen bank account scam. You remember that one? He was trying to get money out of people for that. One thing after another, he's just trying to figure out a way to get money out of people. Why? Because he knew it was coming down. He wants to pretend as if he didn't know in the video that he posted yesterday. But then we covered it. We broke it all down, and he takes that video down off his Instagram. All right. Before we do this, I'm going to go. I have to go through these super chats as quickly as possible. I usually like to take my time, but we got a lot to get into here. I'm off tomorrow, so if I can have some time to live stream during the day, I'm going to do it. Okay, but again, my kids, they just going back to school, and I feel a lot better now. Okay, I just be worrying. Okay. Lewis Luck said, I like the Pac t-shirt. Yeah, I think my daughter took that shirt. I think one of my daughters took that shirt. She saw it and she's like, oh, can I have that? I had to get it back from her. I don't know. I don't even think she ever listened to. Well, no, she probably have heard some Tupac songs, but you know, that's from the 90s. I was into Tupac back in the day, especially what was it? Hail Mary, come look, see. Hail Mary, yeah. Thanks, Lewis. Isn't it weird that Brother Jose would be wearing that? Okay. User 22, thank you. User 225 says Lenon can't go to the march. He'll be getting braids. What are you talking about? I'm not getting no braids anytime soon. I wish I could. Let me say this, that the march is another part of this script that Umar, because he's done this before. You guys remember this? He had a anti-protest march that was supposed to take place, and there was no protest in the first place. So he just regurgitates shit. Hit the one. Anybody remember that? I should pull that up. It was such a foolish. It's just another thing that he creates, a narrative that he creates to get money out of people and make him seem as if he's under attack all the time, that he's a victim. He's not a victim. He's the victimizer. And that's why I'm here to set him straight. Y'all remember the anti-protest? Anyway, that is pre-script that Umar, and then he claims it's racism. Okay, whatever. Okay, race ain't got nothing to do if you don't pay your bills. Thanks, you 5. Shout out to Information Man. Thanks for what you do, brothers. Bless you. Thank you so much, and you did a fantastic job with your live stream. If you guys haven't checked out this brother's live stream, he covered the video that Umar took down. Check him out on Information Man Show. Excellent analysis as always. Okay. Thank you, brother, for being here. Thanks for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. Let's see. Jam7 Jack 5 says Umar sent me to the block party on IG. Too many questions. Yeah, that's what he does. He's gonna block people. He'll block his donors. You know, he'll block his supporters. He'll curse them out. That's what he does. Now, I block people, especially if they be saying stuff that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got no time for that. That's the one thing I ain't got time. I ain't got time to be wasting. See, even me doing on YouTube, I'm very specific about the time that I put in. It has to make sense. But outside this, I don't have like, you know how some people like they spend time, watching sports. I don't have time like that. Some people may spend time, I don't know, going out to eat or whatever. I just don't have time like that. Some people, they spend their time getting high. Okay, I'm not into all that, or drinking, whatever, or partying, whatever. I don't have time. I'm very specific. I got my day job. I handle that business. I got my family. I handle that business, and I got you all, and we get together. The point is that when people try to come at me with foolishness, I'm not going to waste no time on them. I'm like, I ain't got no time for that. That's real talk. Okay? But that's what Umar does, especially if you ask questions about the money, if you ask questions about FDMG. Okay, he don't want to do, but that's been a long tradition with Umar, going back many years, because he knows that what he's doing is wrong, and he doesn't want to get exposed. He's been exposed. Okay, thanks, brother, for the super chat. Dance Fitness says Dance Fitness with, you became a member. Thank you so much. Again, there will be it's an hour long. It's almost an hour long. Even it's like 57 minutes. There's a video, and it's uncensored. It's the uncensored version. I can't put it on YouTube, but I'm talking about for the general public, but it will be available for members either tomorrow or it'll be on Friday. Okay. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. And then we have hundreds and hundreds of Umar videos archived for members only. Gamer Guy says, you're welcome, Lenon. Here's 10. Next time I'll make it 20. Donations, gifts. Thank you so much. Yeah, Umar, he's so ungrateful. And in the video that I have for members, I cover that aspect of it too, how ungrateful he is. I remember he was upset because I think his donors had given him, if memory serves me correct, it was either $150,000 or $250,000 at that time. And he called his donors trifling ass black people. Who does that? And there's still no school. Okay, that video, I'm going to say that video was probably from 2017, maybe 2016. I can find out for sure. You know, here we are all these years later, over a decade later, and there's still no school. But he was so belligerent and disrespectful. And then he says, if you have a problem with that, we can handle that outside. That's what he said. What was that called? I think it was the War on Black Boys video. I don't remember because there's two parts to it. I don't remember which part it is, but I'll tell you what I can do. Let me do this. Here, because gamer guy, I just want to give this as an example. Let me do this because I have it, and I'll just play a small, short segment of it from the video that I have for members. At some point, I'll have it for everyone, but it's going to be censored. And then I'm going to just break it up into clips. I'll break up the 1 hour video into clips. So let me see here. Is it in this? I think it's in this one, right? Live stream exports. All right. And let's see, from today. This is the YouTube. Let's see, should I do the YouTube? Yeah, I'll do the version for members, because it's only one part. You guys will see what I mean, because I have Tariq in this video. Okay, boy, y'all. Anyway, let me not say anything else. So let me skip to the part right quick. I done said too much already. It's something else. I had to beep all kind of stuff out of this one. So let me see if I could find it here. A matter of fact, let me pull it up because I could do it while I have it up here.
A Smurf.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this off here, because then okay. Let me just scroll through real quick. Yeah, this part right here is going to blow y'all's mind. This part right here is crazy. All right, where is it at? I thought it was earlier. You know what? Maybe I didn't. Yeah, maybe I thought it was earlier. Maybe I'll skip through it because it is a short segment. Let me try one more time. If I can't find it, we'll move on. Y'all gonna trip when you see this part right here. Oh man. Yeah, it's not, because it's a short segment. It's not gonna skip through to the part that I want. I've missed it twice now. Yeah, I apologize. Oh, here it is right here. Oh, yeah, it's right at the beginning. Okay, let me just play it from right here. Well, this is what I mean by Umar, how ungrateful he is. And this is it's tied to Gamer Guy. Here we go.
It's gonna be spanking.
I'm getting sick and tired of getting texts on my cell phone for black folk talking about I've donated, like they done. You gave me 25 damn.
Anybody remember this? Hit the one. He's so ungrateful.
It's gonna be spanking.
I'm getting sick and tired of getting texts on my cell phone for black folk talking about I've donated, like they done. You gave me 25 damn dollars and you think you free now. We gotta raise $2 million. Your ass ain't done. I better get some more and some more and some more and some more until we hit the goal, brothers and sisters. That's the way we're gonna have to do this. Trifling ass black people.
Damn.
I'm gonna call it like I say it. And I don't care if you get offended. We can handle that outside.
Umar Johnson's promotion of physical violence against police officers against black boys.
Okay, I gotta leave it right there. Because this is the version that's it's not censored. Okay. That video, by the way, that goes back 10 years ago. See, he was complaining about how much money he had raised at that time 10 years ago. And here we are, and look where things are at today. All right. Just ungrateful. In fact, this was March 24th of 2015. It's over a year ago. Thanks, Cameron God, for the super chat. Black Wolf says, Lenon, tienes amor de esta manera, hermano. Te mereces todas las bendiciones que te lleguen. Solo mantente siempre fiel, hermano. Oh, yeah. What? I don't even know what most of this, what this means, Black Wolf. Let me try again. Lenon, that's what they used to call me back in the day. I'm from San Diego. Lenon, ¿tienes amor de esta manera, hermano? I have love for this, I don't know, this brother. Te mereces todas las bendiciones que te lleguen. Solo mantente siempre fiel, hermano. Okay, I'm going to say no. That's all I'm going to say to that one. I don't even know what you said. I need to put it in Google so I can figure it out. Google figure it out for me. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. No, if you guys going to send me something in Spanish, make it easy. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you, Black Wolf, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Anybody want to translate that in the chat room, please do, and I'll read it in English. Ram says, FDMG, Yamero llega. All right. Thank you, Ram. I guess we got a lot of Spanish speakers in the chat room today. All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks for super chat. Smitty Boy says, we love you, Uncle Lenon. We appreciate you. Cook Rosette all day, every day. Yeah. The Cook Rosette is awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks, Smitty Boy, for the super chat. Easy W. Every time I see your picture, it makes me want to, because I used to jog back in the day. You know, I used to like jogging. I'm too old now, but what I want to do every time I see your picture, it just makes me want to jog. But what I want to do is get a bike in because we got all these trails, nature trails over here by the lake, and it goes in different areas and all this stuff, streams and all this stuff. It's real nice. But I want to get a bike and get the gear and all that stuff. You know how people they'll be biking, get all that, and then start doing that thing one of these days. All right, thanks, Smitty Boy. Easy W says gifts. Next time I'll hit the PayPal and make it 20. Yeah, that's what Umar said when Sister Avanti sent him 10. He's so ungrateful. Sent him 10. He said, I know you barely had that. Thanks for the 10, but next time make it 20. It's totally ungrateful. And see, what's crazy, Easy, is here we are all these years later, and look where things are at. Where's all this money gone? That's the critical question that people need to ask. Where's all the money gone? Again, from 2019 to 2025, 2019 to 2024, I've proven without a shadow of doubt that Umar has raised a bare minimum of $1.67 million. If we take the acquisition price, and then even if we take all the other stuff that Umar claims that he spent money on, specifically with renovations, there should be at least $900,000. $800,000. Let's just give benefit of the doubt. $800,000 is missing. And then look where things are at. And then when people send him money, he's so ungrateful. Okay. Thanks, Easy. That's why I thank people. I'm so grateful, and I have to have. I got to do that more. You know, just express appreciation. You know. Thank you so much, Easy W, for the super chat. Chris says the amount of time Lenon has put into Umar's saga over the years is truly astounding. The receipts and everything makes LenonHonor and Cookie Crush Chat unbeatable. Hit the one. Yeah, the thing is that, you know, the amount of time that I put in, especially when it comes to research, that's the part I think that it's undisputable. See, even with the most stout Umar Johnson supporter, I know way more about Umar than they do. And I'm here to warn them, you know. And then some of them that, you know, they've gone at me. They've you know, I've been through the fire. You know, me and my family, we've gone through all. My wife done received emails from some of these people, you see. But from an intellectual standpoint, dealing with receipts and dealing with research, and that's what I go based on. Not one Umar Johnson follower can get up here on this platform and debate me on this FDMG school scam. I'm talking about and hold their own without the ad hominem and without the deflections and with all this other stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a debate where we stick to the facts and we go point by point. But that's because I've spent a lot of time researching, and a lot of it's already done. See, I don't have to do as much these days because I've already laid the foundation for that many years ago. See, so thank you so much, Chris, and Cook Chat's undefeated. Hit the one. All right. We got about 4,563 people. If you're enjoying this show at any given point, make sure you hit that like button. Again, part of the reason why these numbers have kind of skyrocketed recently is because of that like button. Right? It gets this video out into the algorithm. The activity inside the chat room helps as well. So thank you guys so much for that. Thanks, Chris, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Kadar says he took his entire page down. No, he didn't. What he probably did, he probably blocked you. That's probably what he did. Talking about Umar. Let me go check this because there was a time where I kept going up there, going to his Instagram page, and it looked like it had disappeared. But I finally, and for months, and I finally realized he had blocked me. No, it's still up. It's still up there. Yeah, it's still up there. Yeah, but he took the video down that we covered yesterday. He took it down. All right, we're gonna get into bits and pieces of that today. Okay, I'm gonna get to these super chats before we get into, because I want to, because the last couple of live streams I've just been, thank you. Thanks, Kadar, for super chat. Iceman, what's up, Iceman Van says, could you imagine the cast of characters marching on City Hall? Yeah, the Granny Archers, Miguel Jackson, the grass cutting FDMG. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Okay, but I know we're gonna leave that one right there. And featuring LenonHonor and Brother Jose. Yeah, but there'll be other people too. Binky the Bando, Bird. Well, that bird's deceased, but the PayPal the puppy and all this other stuff. Umar has no intention of fulfilling any of that. He has no intention of marching anywhere. When you guys ever seen Umar march? I'm talking about something he put together. He'll crowd chase on other people, usually people who are deceased, but they have a march. He'll crowd chase off of that. But Umar, when does Umar ever? Because even when he did the anti-protest, they didn't do no marching. They were standing out there. The people was all asleep. One lady was asleep. She was leaning up against the wall, asleep. I kid you not. So he has no intention of marching. It doesn't even make any sense. Where are you going to march to? What are you going to march about exactly? Because you didn't pay your bills? Doesn't even make sense. See, but he throws it out there. Why? Because he wants to present himself as if he's being victimized by the city and by the state. See, and Umar, I think one of the reasons why he took the video down was because he knew that he was saying stuff that can actually get him in trouble. Because if you're lying on the city and you're lying on the state, that's a problem. They got lawyers, trust me. See, I think that's one of the reasons why someone say, hey, listen, you saying all that stuff, you're getting a little bit out of control with that. You need to watch your mouth, right? Yeah. Thanks, Iceman Vamp, for the super chat. Stacy sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much, Stacy. I appreciate it. Gozo Princess says, Lenon was nice back then. Umar threatened him and all that changed. That's true. See, back then it was very, I was subdued, because I wanted to just present the information. It was real dry, no humor, anything like that. But at a certain point, and I was done with Umar, but he issued threats. In fact, in the video for you members, I actually covered that because a lot of people don't know about that backstory. For members, the uncensored version, I cover that. And he threatened me with physical. He threatened other people too, but with physical violence, and he doxed my home address. He also told his followers to come to my home and cause physical harm. Okay, well, that puts my family in jeopardy too. At that point, I said, okay. See, that was an act of intimidation on his part, but it didn't intimidate me. What it did was I said, okay, it's time to go. And here we are today. And look where things are at with Umar. I'm not the one. See, I don't play that. Thank you guys, little princess. VIP RK says channel name is Big YouTuber. Video name Grit Money. Okay. Thank you, VIP Arcade. Okay, yeah, I got to text my wife back in just a moment. Bree became a member. Thank you so much, Bree. I appreciate that. I got to get through these quick. Miranda says, love the laughs too. Thanks, Lenon. Cookie Crush Chat's undefeated. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of laughter. And it's all fueled from the Cookie Crush Chat because they used to act up. And at a certain point, they used to take over the show. And at a certain point, I just decided I'll just go along with it. And that's been the formula. And it's all good. All right, thank you, Miranda, for the super chat. New member, Eric from Tech Support. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Stacy says, this is what true desperation looks like. He realizes his tactics no longer work. It's over for him. I pray he gets help. He does need help, and he needs help on different levels. He needs mental health services from professionals. He also has substance abuse issues. Also, just the mentality that he has, he's criminal minded. I remember when I first said that, people really got upset with me, his followers, but a lot of those followers, they see the truth now. I mean, you can't take all of this money and then have no conscience about it. And there's no school and just scam people for all these years. And I don't get that. Unwilling to apologize or make it right or come clean. It doesn't compute with Umar because he's criminal minded. When you think like that, you're going to behave like that. And even when you commit crime, you're not thinking that somehow it was wrong because you don't think that way. You're criminal minded. So he needs help on a lot of different levels. And he's 50. He's about to be 51 this month. In fact, what is it? In a little bit over a week, he's going to be 51. I don't know. I don't want to say that it's too late, but hey, I mean, he really does need help. I've heard people say, and I'm just going to say this real talk. I've heard people say, well, you should be praying for him. I have prayed for Umar, but that's not going to help Umar because you can pray for Satan. It don't mean that Satan's going to change. You could pray for Sauron, but that don't mean that Sauron's going to change. See, Sauron has to change himself. Faith without works is what? See, Senator Palpatine, you can pray all you want for him, but that don't mean he's going to change. Well, the same thing applies to Umar. I've prayed for this guy. There have been times I was like, man, this guy, boy, I tell you, see. But that's not going to change things for Umar. Umar has to change, and he needs some help. He needs professional help, real talk. Okay. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of Umar's tactics. They don't work anymore because he just regurgitates them over and over again. And when you see the pattern, especially for you Umar Johnson supporters, you'll see the pattern if you look at it critically over time. And then you'll realize, wait a minute, he's just running game because he's doing the same thing over and over again. And here we are. Okay. Thanks, Stacey, for super chat. User 225 says, reminder, follow Mary Ann for the Umar Johnson movie. Yeah, Mary Ann Lorient will be releasing the Umar Johnson movie. And you guys, I'm telling you, as when she gets to 1,000 subscribers, let me go look and see where she's at with her subscriber count. And I'll promote that now. She's at 907. Okay. Conceivably, we can get her up to 1,000 during this live stream. Okay, it's actually possible. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna post. She posted a short clip from the Umar Johnson movie. It's called Awaken, and I'm gonna post a link to that. When you guys have some time, you can even do it during this live stream. Go on and go watch it. It's about a minute long, and then subscribe. Okay, she's at 907. We need 93 more subscribers. We got over 4,700 people in the building. If you haven't subscribed, if we can get 100 to do it, or 93 to do it during this live stream, that'd be great. Okay. And then when she drops it, we will cover it. Okay. And it's going to open up a whole nother thing. Watch. Okay. All right. So let's support the sister. I interviewed her for the series Surviving Umar Johnson. If you guys don't know what he did to her, I mean, he tried to get her for $500,000 and steal her intellectual property. She paid for the whole project. That's how conniving and diabolical Umar is. Okay. At some point, I'm going to condense her interview. I'll edit it down and I'll put it back up, and then that'll be in advance of the movie premiering. And then people that when you hear her story and how he's diabolical. Okay. Thanks, user 225. Host Southern Cook says, "Hey y'all, I want to come on a stream and discuss my new free resource center for our community and to aid those taken advantage of by Umar. When can we do that?" Yeah, I got your email. I got to respond. I just haven't had time. I got a lot of emails, but I'm backed up on emails like for months now. And I have some suggestions for you. Okay, so just bear with me when I just got to find the time to do it because there's maybe 3 things that I came up with, and I'll itemize them and I'll explain why they're important. Just give me some time and I'll email you back. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Bree says, I waited almost 10 years for his common pence. He blocked me years ago when I asked to see his business plans and the names of his investors. Okay, so Umar doesn't have a business plan. See, so there's 2 things here. You're asking Umar for something that he should have, and he should have had by now. Obviously, really, he should have had a business plan back in 2010. Okay, most assuredly he should have had a business plan back in 2014 when, and the reason I say 2010 because that's when he announced that the school was going to open. Okay? He said it was going to open September 11, 2013. Okay, how are you going to open up a school without a business plan? So that's why he blocked you. That's one of the reasons why he blocked you. Most definitely, he should have had a business plan in 2014 when he started raising money for the St. Paul's College. Because at first he was asking for $1 million, then he said $2 million, then he bumped it up to $4 million. Okay, when Umar did that, he should have had a business plan. He didn't have one then. And guess what? He still didn't have a business plan. Okay, to date, he still doesn't have a business plan. That's why most of his followers don't even know what Umar plans on charging parents for their children to go to the school, which is $500 a month. Okay, well, has Umar ever stated, okay, well, how many students does he have to have enrolled in order to make this financially viable? How much in donations is he going to need to receive, plus the tuition that these parents are going to pay in order to make this financially viable? See, that should all be a part of the business plan. The business plan should also outline, and it should be an itemized list on all the renovations that need to take place. See? Umar's never provided that because he doesn't know. See? So that's why Umar, when you bring up stuff dealing with business or money, he will block you. Furthermore, if you bring up the names of his investors, he's going to block you too because you're dealing with the money. Anytime you question Umar about the money, he goes off. Because he knows that that's where the scam is at. It's not the school per se. The school is an idea. It's like a head movie. The scam is the money. And that's one of the big pieces to this Umar Johnson saga that I think it kind of goes overlooked, because we see the carrot that he dangles in front of people. And this is the pattern that he does, where it's these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. But really what people should be asking about is the business plan, the money. How much money have you collected up to 2025? He's telling people less than $1 million in 2025. But I've proven that since 2019, from 2019 to 2024, bare minimum $1,677,860. See, people present that to Umar, he's going to go off, he's going to block you. Okay? And he's been doing that for years. Okay, thanks, Bree. Shed Power says, hey, Lenon, been a member for a few months. Right? Just want to say thanks for all you do. And I want to ask, with all this that is going on, will Umar finally come clean, or will he shift blame and pivot until the wheels fall off? I've never seen Umar come clean on anything. I've never seen it. In all of my research, the first video that I've been able to find of Umar is from 2005. And I have a video archive. I haven't watched all of the videos, but in all of the videos that I've watched, and it's a lot, most of them we covered here over the years, I've never seen Umar hold himself accountable for anything. So part of coming forward and coming clean is to hold yourself accountable for what you've done that's wrong. But like I was saying before, Shed Power, Umar, he's criminal minded. He doesn't see anything that he has done or that he's currently doing as being wrong. Even him sexually exploiting black women, he doesn't see that as being wrong, because he sees you guys as you know, real talk. I mean, you're not even human to him. So if you have that mentality, you can sexually exploit black women and you won't feel any remorse for doing it, and you're never going to hold yourself accountable for it and apologize for that level of abuse. You're not going to do it. Well, that's Umar. Okay? Well, the same thing applies to this school scam. The other thing is that Umar, he has a personality type where he feels superior to black people. And that sense of superior, in fact, he has a God complex. That's going to be inside the video. You guys are going to trip on that, you members. Okay. He has a God complex. And when you have, and that's why a lot of these cult leaders, they see themselves as being so much greater than your average human being. Right. That's what I'm saying. He's like a supervillain. And when you have that type of mentality, and Umar has that mentality, he feels entitlement. He feels like he can do it. He feels entitled to everything, including black women, including all the money. And he knows that he can continue to exploit, and he doesn't see anything wrong with it. Well, if you have that type of mentality, what's the probability? Because I like statistics. What's the probability of coming clean and telling people that you ain't nothing but a con man? Especially if you don't see that there's anything wrong with what you're doing. He's criminal minded. So I would say, to answer your question, Shed Power, it's more likely that Umar will shift blame, which he's already done, because he's blaming it on racism. Okay, we'll get to that a little bit later. And pivot until the wheels fall off. At this point, he's blamed racism. We haven't seen them pivot. We don't know what that is quite yet. Okay, we don't know. He may just come up with the money and just keep this rolling, right? If he doesn't come up with the money and these buildings are sold at sheriff's sale, he will have to pivot until the wheels fall off. Okay, but we're not at that point yet. So this is an issue of patience. We're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. It's extremely unlikely that Umar will ever come clean because he's criminal minded. It's more likely that he will pivot at a certain point where this actually gets to the point where he's not actually bringing in any significant amount of money. And it's died down anyway because of all the shenanigans over the years. But at a certain point, there's an opportunity cost. He's going to realize, okay, the amount of money that people are sending me doesn't justify me getting online begging like this anymore. And that's when he has no choice but to pivot. Okay? Wait and see. We're going to see. Thanks, Shed Power, for the super chat. Shed Power says, FMG finna demand more grit money. Yeah. He's going to have to ask for some more money. And that's what he's been doing. And it's not just because he owes the $38,388. It's because that money is what fuels his lifestyle. You guys going to look at Umar's schedule. He ain't got much going on this month. He don't have much going on for the rest of the year. There's question marks next to things. That's the stuff he's throwing up there that he don't even know what's going to happen. See, he's in a bad shape right now, but this is his own doing. He's going to blame everybody else. He's going to blame Lene. He's going to blame me. He's going to blame the Cookie Crush chat. He's going to blame everybody and except holding himself accountable. And that's exactly what he's been doing. All right. Thanks, Shed Power. Super chat. Texas Diva gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that. Very kind of you. Okay. And if those 5 people, if you receive a membership today, make sure you take the time to thank Texas Diva. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm sure they appreciate it too. All right. Bree says, hi, Umar, say it 3 times, Johnson. Haha. Yeah, he's watching this right now. Listen, I saw someone comment, and they said, Umar, he's a fan. He be watching Lenon's video more than anything else. And he watched these videos. One of Umar's biggest mistakes was to threaten me. Biggest mistake. He threatened other people too. But see, I'm not the one. He watching right now. Umar, you know that's true. Go on, hit that like button. You know it's true. Go on ahead and do it. Hit the 1. Okay. It was one of your biggest mistakes was to threaten me. And you did it as an act of intimidation because and people get it twisted. And I get it. They get it twisted because I kind of present myself a certain way. I kind of look a certain way. Okay, I got you. But I'm not the one. And I'm real peaceful. You know, I love animals. I love the kids, you know. I got a wonderful wife. I treat her good. She's really, really sweet. She really is. She's so sweet. She's perfect. But don't fuck with me. And don't fuck with my family. Don't fuck with my kids. So y'all see that right there? I'm not. All right. But I'm real cool, though. I'm cool. As long as you cool. My mama's like that, too. I got a sister that's like that. Real cool. But and I got an uncle like that, too. But if you up here tripping, they'll call and they'll make you they'll call you. I'm the same way. All right. Thanks, Bree, for a super chat 3 times. All right. All right. Let's see. Ashley says, can I pay the pebble on the step? Oh, don't do that. Can I play the pebble on the steps in the next documentary? I do have the pebble on the step for members in the video, and that will be in the documentary. That's something that a lot of people, they missed. I remember when we first watched that video, it was years ago, we didn't know what was going on. I assumed that it was like a bug or a spider. You know, that's what I assumed, because I gave Umar the benefit of the doubt. But once that camera panned over and you can see what he was fidgeting with, I said, man, this guy, he smoked out. See? But that will be in a doc, and it'll be a whole breakdown too. Okay. Thank you, Ashley, for the super chat. Appreciate it. He's a 5 says, imagine Umar Johnson and his followers charging City Hall. The IAA, don't do that, shrieking, the sound of cookies being crushed and Umar wheezing, struggling up the steps. See, the thing is, it wouldn't even make sense. Why would they, what are they marching for? Because somehow Umar's being persecuted based upon race? He didn't pay the bills. He hasn't been paying the bills. See? You know what I need to do? What I need to do is start tracking those bills, because I ain't looked at it in years, but I need to start tracking those bills, because by tracking those bills, we can see if Umar pays, and if he's paid it by, because what does he have until the 25th? He got 12 days. That way we can see, it's actually less, it's 11 days, really. We can see whether or not he pays those, because once that updates, but it wouldn't update until the following month, though. But we'd be able to find out. That's what I'm saying. We're going to find out one way or the other. See, that's one of the things with Umar, with his nonprofit, a lot of the stuff is public record. He has no transparency, but that's why the research online, you can find a lot of information with Umar that's public record that he doesn't want you to know about, including out these bills and how they've been piling up. There's other bills too. I'm gonna tell you guys, when you guys go and look at the amount of money that Umar wasted, donors' money that he wasted on taxes, property tax, going back from 2019 and 2020, he didn't get his tax exempt status again until 2020, but it's not retroactive. He had it from 2015 to 2017 with a different EIN number. So all the money that he collected right there, it has nothing to do with what he was reporting to the IRS in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, 2024. Ain't got nothing to do with that, right? Totally separate. But the point is that, what was my point? I was going to make a point. I forgot my point. I apologize. It was a big point too. Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, there's a lot of information online that Umar doesn't want people to know about. And because there's no transparency, Umar, he assumed that people weren't going to look into this information. See, but there's a lot out there that you can look at and you'll realize very quickly that he's a con man, including dealing with the IRS and his nonprofit status. So he doesn't, this is the second point. He didn't get tax exempt status again until 2020. And so that as a consequence, the amount of money that he had to pay in taxes because he didn't have tax exempt status for 2019 and 2020, based upon my research, and I meant to verify this yesterday, but I'm gonna put this out here. It was about $172,931.86 in taxes that you donors had to pay simply because Umar didn't have his paperwork in order. And y'all think he's serious about opening up school. And this is all public record. You can look this up yourself. I can pull up the tax documents right now. All right. Thank you, user 225. How's it going? Kim Kim says, I've seen a lot more videos of people saying Umar ran off with their money after payment. Serious Pookie behavior. What kind of man? Yeah. And there's a lot of people, and it's not just people doing videos. If you guys look into the comment section, a lot of the people they'll say things like, hey, listen, I sent him $20 back in 2013. Or there's people saying 2007, 2008, and 2009. I sent this guy $1,000 back in 2020. I sent this guy. I mean, if you guys start looking at these comment sections, not just the videos, but you see these testimonies of people online. Yeah, there's a lot of people. They're upset. And see, what has happened is they realize now that the money was wasted. And it's not just because no school is open, but because of where Umar is at. These properties may be taken from him within the next couple of months. See. So that's another thing to look out for. The evidence is all out there. If you do enough research, look at the public record, but you can also look at videos that Umar's done, interviews, podcasts that Umar, and you put it all together, you realize inevitably that Umar is nothing more than a con man. And FDMG is just a pipe dream that he's used. It's a money pit that he's used in order to get money out of people, not because he cares about black boys or black girls for that matter, because he wants to open up a school. It's really that simple. Okay. Thanks, Kimmy Kim, for the super chat. John says Umar was talking about opening a school in New Jersey at his last speech. Yeah, he said if we can find one out here that's somewhere around $500,000, $400,000, we can work with that. What do you mean you can work with that? If you can work with $400,000 or $500,000, well, why don't you just pay this $38,388.22? You see what I'm saying? But the reason why he throws that out there in New Jersey is because he's trying to set up the next con, because he's done this before. He regurgitates stuff over and over again. See, what he used to do, for you guys, if you don't know, if you do the research, what he would do before he had acquired these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware, whenever he had a place where he was speaking, he would tell the people there that he's looking for a building in that city. And he would tell them to send him, buildings and listings, addresses, what have you. And he would do that in advance of coming to the city. Watch how diabolical Umar is. He'll do that in advance of doing a lecture in that city. So people, when they hear that, they say, oh, he's coming. Let's say he's coming to Chicago. Wow. And he's looking for a building in Chicago. Okay. First of all, they're going to come out to hear him speak because they get excited because he may be opening up the school in Chicago. But second of all, they're going to be more inclined to donate. This is how diabolical Umar is. They're going to be more inclined to donate because they feel as if Umar's going to do this magnificent project in their city and they want to be part of that. You see how diabolical this guy is? And so they would donate and donate and donate, and then Umar, he leave. And then the next speaking engagements, let's say it's in New York City. And so he tells people, look, I'm looking for a building in New York City. Same thing. People are more inclined to come out. People are more inclined to donate for the same reasons. And then Umar leaves there. And then he goes to Los Angeles. He said, I'm looking for a school inside Los Angeles, which he did. I got the videos in the documentary, the new documentary. I'm looking for a building here inside in LA. If you guys have any places, send me blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And then he runs the same scam. That's why he has different school scams. It's not just St. Paul's. It's not just Wilmington, Delaware. Each one of these incidents, and there's, I don't know, there's dozens of them. These are all school scams. And then most recently, he's in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, and he says the same shit that he was saying before he had acquired these trap bandos. In fact, even after he acquired these trap bandos, he did a video in Detroit and he was lying his ass off trying to get money. I should pull that up. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it, because that's one of the most ridiculous videos that Umar ever did. He regurgitates this over and over again, and here we are now where he owes this money, $38,380.22, because he's telling people in New Jersey that somehow he's looking for a school out there. See, he's just setting this shit up again because that's what he does. He's a con man. That Detroit video was crazy. Thanks, Sean, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Building Blocks became a member. Thank you so much. Like the afro. Wish I could grow an afro in, but it ain't gonna happen. Anyway, enjoy. I'm just playing. House of Cozy says, if something happens to his mom, could he be charged? Yes, as a primary caretaker. It depends on what it is. I don't want to go too deep into this. Because I just think it's, it's just a little, but his mother's care, I think how she's been cared for, and if he's the primary caretaker, yeah, he could, if it's over the top, if there's any levels of abuse or neglect, yeah, as a primary caretaker, the charges could be pressed on Umar. Okay? I'm just gonna leave it right there because I won't say anything else. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Marcus, and that's just out of respect for the mother. That's why Marcus says, tell Umar I said zippity dippity. He knows what that means. All right, zippity dippity. All right, zippity dippity doo dog. All right, I'll tell him. He's watching right now, so he's seeing that right now. He just blocked you. All right, thanks, Marcus, for the super chat. Speak the Truth always became a member. Thank you so much. I like that's a fantastic avatar there too. By the way, thank you for becoming a member. Schofield T. I apologize. Love your platform. Do you think Umar started off with good intentions, then became overwhelmed, or has he been a scammer all along? Okay. What my research shows is that Umar never had an intention on opening up a school. I don't think he ever had good intentions because he's been rotten from the start. Okay, you can go back to 2005 when he was in UNIA. He was running the same type of scam. It's just it was for a renovation project with the UNIA. Sounds familiar? See, what Umar has done over the decades, 2 decades now, is he's proven time and time again that he's never been serious. See, I said this yesterday. If you're serious about doing something, then you're going to need to be educated in order to accomplish that. And if you're not educated in order to accomplish that, you're not serious about opening up a school or whatever endeavor you're involved in. Furthermore, you're going to have professionals around to help you with that process. And there's been so many people that have reached out to Umar, professionals, to provide him with help. He doesn't want actual tangible help. What he wants is money. That's how I know that he's never been serious about opening up a school. It wasn't about opening up a school. It was about the idea of opening up a school to get money out of people. See, it's always been about money with Umar, and that's very clear. Even if we look at videos like I showed earlier, where he's calling black people trifling ass black people because he felt like they didn't send him enough money. Well, ain't this about a school or is it about money? Which one is it? And he's been living off of this money. See, how many times have we heard Umar tell people to get on the CashApp, get on the PayPal, GoFundMe? See, now he's talking about, Apple Pay and all this other stuff. You don't hear him talk about, okay, I'm working with this professional today to get this done. You don't hear him saying that. Why not? Because he's not serious. He never was serious. See? He didn't want, and furthermore, he didn't want professional help because if he accepts professional help, then there's going to be accountability and transparency. Because you ain't going to be working with someone who's just shady and ain't telling you nothing, right? He was never serious. Let me give you one more example. When Umar started raising money for the St. Paul's College, he already had an out. I have the video, and he says it explicitly. Keep donating, because if we can't get St. Paul's, we're going to keep collecting money until, I'm paraphrasing, we're going to keep collecting money until we find a school. Okay, well, wait a minute. How serious are you about opening up a school? If even before just early on when he first started this, within a matter of a month since he started raising money for St. Paul's College, he gives an update and he's already telling people, you know what, just keep donating, because even if we don't get St. Paul's, we're just going to keep donating. And he does that from 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Over 5 years he does this. He's not serious about opening up a school. See, by the end of 2016, Umar says that he needs another $1 million, and what it implies is that he already had $1 million, which is consistent with what he posted on his face. I have all these receipts. See, he even said in 2016 that by the end of the summer of 2016, he would be at $1 million. That's what he said. I can pull up the receipt and play it for you. Well, if Umar is sitting on $1 million by the end of 2016, you mean to tell me he couldn't find a building in 2017? No, he keeps collecting money. 2017, 2018, he finally settles on these abandoned buildings in 2019. That's why I'm saying Umar was at $1 million back in 2000, at the end of 2016. Let's say 2017. He's at $1 million. And then based upon the IRS filings, when you look at the money that Umar had sitting in a non-interest bearing account, when you look at the amount of money that he allegedly purchased these abandoned buildings for, he said it's over $400,000. Well, bare minimum, you look at the tax filings, $1,677,860 from 2019 to 2024. Well, he said he was at $1 million in 2017. Okay, well, then we're talking $2.6 million. And we're not even counting 2017 or 2018. He's not serious about opening up a school. That's why I'm saying bare minimum 1.67 million. My best estimate is $2.7 million. You mean to tell me that Umar couldn't, at this point, he couldn't have started something? I mean, he's tripping up right now of these buildings about to be taken away from him. He's tripping off of $38,380. Where all this money go? Well, he's been living off of this money. He hasn't worked a job since 2010, 2011. Let me give you one other example. Okay, I didn't mean to go off on this. We got over 5,000 people again. Let me give you another example. How much money has Umar donated to this FDMG school scam? He has no skin in the game. He don't care because he's getting free money. He's not invested not one dime. He hasn't worked a job since 2010, 2011. He hasn't worked consistently. There is some evidence that he worked in 2014 for a short period of time, matter of months, but I haven't been able to verify. But I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I always give him the benefit of the doubt because I want to be fair. Sometimes I think I'd go overboard on that and I give him too much grace. But how much money has Umar put in? Listen, I haven't donated to FDMG. Zero. Well, guess what? Umar hasn't either. Zero. You would think that someone who's the most requested scholar, a school psychologist, a therapist, a family therapist, a child therapist, all this other stuff, school psychologist, the greatest black school psychologist in the history of humankind, you would think that he would be, by now, that he had put in what? I don't know, a couple 100,000. So what I'm getting at, Schofield T, is that if Umar was serious, then he would have invested in this heavily himself. He would have been working a job and working 2 jobs in order to generate more income to contribute to this fund to open up a school for black boys or for black girls or for both, because it's supposed to be a boarding school for girls and boys. Con man. He's not serious. In my opinion, he never had good intentions. You can't have good intentions when you're collecting money and you don't have a plan. You can't have good intentions when you're collecting money and you're chastising and disrespecting the people who are sending you money for nothing. That's wrong. You can't have good intentions where when you use, here you go, when you use this idea of opening up a school to manipulate black women into giving you money, and also for them to give up that cooch. That's not good intentions. See, in my opinion, he never had any, I don't think he ever intended to open up a school. What I think is that Umar, he saw this as a hustle, and he's coming out of the UNIA because he was running the same hustle, and he just picks it up, and then he changed it into FDMG, and he starts collecting money. There are people online that said 2007. There's people online that said they sent him money in 2008. There's people online that said 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. But Umar said he only started collecting money in 2014. He should have something by now in 2025. And if he was real about it, and if he was a real one, and he had good intentions, and he was serious about it, because he's had more than enough money, he would at least have something started by now. There's no excuses. There's no excuse for that. Right? All right. Thank you for the super chat. Easy W says some more and some more and some more. You see the sense of entitlement, how he talking to the people. And if you got a problem with that, we can handle outside. He has good intentions? No, it's about the money. And he said that on Lord Jamar show. He said, I don't care about the people. I care about the donors, where the donors represent what? The money. That's not good intentions. Okay, I go on that one. Thank you, Easy W. Michael says, no disrespect. Do you think Umar becomes irrelevant? You will too. I only know you from your Umar content. So what are your plans post Umar? I have a contingency plan. Yeah, I have a contingency plan. And if I had more time, I would have already implemented it. I just haven't had the time. I've already calculated too what the drop off would be. And I'm fine with that. You know, what I do here on YouTube, I consider it to be like a part-time job. Okay, I got my day job, so I'm good, right? Again, Umar can't do this forever. He can't, and I can't do it forever either. But I'll continue to do my part to bring him to justice. In the meantime, I do have a contingency plan, and you know, there's a saying: don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, I hold my day job, and I'm good. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Raj Paul. Now you see, first, Michael's very respectful when he asks this question, but you see how I don't go off and respond in a negative way. I just answer the question straight out. Okay, but I just want people to think about that. If you ask any type of question to Umar like this, anything that's like this, he's going to go off. He's going to block. He's going to get belligerent. You see, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, all right. And thank you for the super chat. D, what kind of name? D's Nut says, Lenon, will you play somebody shit on my steps? Was it you? I never recorded that, and let me make a quick announcement too. And we're almost almost ready for the video because I'm almost down to the bottom. I have to make an announcement. The person who created Snow Bunny Love, they used AI to create the song and to do the video. But I've been talking back and forth with them, and they have a newer version that they're going to be releasing. And until they get that newer version released and they get established, and I'm kind of trying to help him to get established too on social media, because AI, it's so open right now. And for him to be able to use his skill set as someone who can generate AI content, there's a serious market for that. So I'm trying to help him to kind of get established. I won't be playing the old version of Snow Bunny Love until he releases the new version and he's established online. And I've been talking to give him ideas on how to do that. It's just a respect thing, okay? And he's a good brother too, because we were talking back and forth through email. And he's a really good brother. He shared some things with me. It brought tears to my eyes. There are some really good brothers out here who are handling business, and they're really it could be in some difficult situations. And there's people who say stuff like, you know, black men don't take care of their kids. That's not true. You know, we take care of our kids. Umar don't, but just because Umar don't mean that all of us that we don't. Okay, so anyway, shout out to that brother. I'm hoping to continue to put him, or at least help him to put him in a better position to where he can use his skill set in such a way, especially dealing with AI, because there's a lot of money to be made with that. A lot. Okay, thanks, I never recorded somebody. No, I think I did record like a scratch version. At some point when I have some time, I'll be doing more music. Okay, right. Thank you, D's Nuts, for super chat. Let me get through. I gotta get through these quick. John, the professional's brother. If you really want to get under Umar's skin, you should personally trademark Snow Bunnies, Never Black Queens Forever. Sell the t-shirts and make the money. I wouldn't do him like that. You know, I wouldn't do him like that. The thing is that well, the other thing too is I wouldn't want to have that attached to me or my brand. If you know what I'm saying, Snow Bunnies, Never Black Queens Forever, because really Umar, his rhetoric on that, really what it is, it's a form of minstrelsy. That's just shucking and jiving. And you see how people respond to it emotionally. But if you really think about it, if Umar says Black Queens Forever, okay, where's your Black Queen Forever? He out here sexually exploiting all these black women. He ain't been married not once. In all of my years, John, I've never heard Umar tell a story about him being in a long-standing relationship with any woman, let alone black women. You know what I'm saying? But even still, I wouldn't feel right by doing something like that. Okay, I pride myself on integrity. Okay, that's what I'm saying. There are people who operate in certain ways, and I'm one of those people. Everything has to be on the up and up, you know. Otherwise, I'll feel guilty, and the stress involved with that, and I don't like to feel that way. Okay, so I wouldn't do Umar like that. All right. Plus, who's gonna buy a T-shirt? Any y'all gonna buy a T-shirt that says "Snow Bunnies Never Black Queens Forever"? I don't know. All right, thanks, John, the professional. Thanks for the super chat. Big Dog Status says all the money went to coup. Not all of it. Okay, all of it. And even he was dealing with a sex worker over in Africa. We've covered that for members, but even still, the process that Umar goes through in order to lure these women into hotel rooms, that costs money too. Okay, because he has to pay for these hotel rooms. He has to pay for the rental cars. He has to pay for the airfare to fly them out, because he's done that too, where he'll fly them out if he's going to be speaking somewhere and they're near. That's why Umar always says, what city are you calling from? Or what city are you from? Or when you text me, tell me what city you're from. It's in the picture. Because he knows that if he, see, I mean, he's diabolical with it. He knows that if he's going to be speaking someplace, let's say he's speaking in San Diego, and there's women in Los Angeles that sent him pics and stuff, where he can just hit one of them up and say, hey, listen, you want to come down to San Diego? I can pay for a rental car, or I can fly you down and you can just come to the hotel. That's Umar. See? So it could be directly or indirectly. That's the point. Thank you, Big Dog Status. Gamer Incorporated said, I bet King Randall is sitting back watching this buffoonery unfold. Yeah. The thing is with King Randall, he defended Umar for a very long time. He did. Because I remember when I was criticizing Umar, he didn't say my name directly, but I knew he was talking about me and other people who were criticizing Umar. But he realizes the truth now, I'm quite sure. See, Umar hasn't produced anything. And King Randall, he's in his mid-20s. You see, again, I haven't researched him all deeply, but the fact that he has something up and running and to get started with much less money than Umar raised, okay, probably at this point, he's probably got more donations for his organization these days, because he's actually, he has proof of concept. But with Umar, he has nothing, right, to show for any of this. In fact, he may be losing these buildings. So even King Randall seeing all this stuff, yeah, it's a bunch of buffoonery, but this is Umar's fault, not anyone else's fault. Thank you, Gamer Incorporated. Divine says, Umar, Lenon, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Self-made SM says, whatever happens to Tiffany, she's still alive. You're talking about Tiff DeGriff. Tiff DeGriff, from what I understand, she doesn't support Umar and defend Umar like she used to. She may still, I don't know, be down with Umar, but she was one of the people in the forefront. He never liked her. He never liked her at all. In fact, he disrespected her on one occasion. She came to one of, I think it was a paint day or something like that. And the first words out of his mouth was, "You look like you pregnant," something like that. I don't know if it was the first words, but he said something like that. And you could tell she was like taken back. But it just goes to show you, she used to send him money all the time, because he'll be live streaming and then he'll be like, thanks, Tiff, thanks. All right, he would do that. But he didn't like her at all. He liked the money. See? And she should try to prove herself to him. And she wanted, you could tell she was in competition with Sharon and all that. So all these other women that he had around, a lot of those women ain't around anymore. Okay? And she's one of them. If she ever wanted to come on to the platform, I would have her. I think I would have her on if she wanted to talk about Umar and her experience. Thanks, Self-Made, for a super chat. Black Wolf says, Leonard, you have to show the fake march. They was out there in the cold for nothing. Nobody claimed to be coming to those abandoned buildings. Yeah, we'll get to that in the future live stream. That's the anti-protest. We've covered it in the past, but for time's sake, so I'm going to stick to the agenda. I got to get to these super chats as quickly as possible, because we already run up a clock. We had an hour and a half. Till my wife going to be up there for an hour and a half. Oh, I forgot to email. All right, did I text her back? Hold on one second. Oh, she wanted to. Let's see. Yes, yeah. Okay, she wanted to order some food. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, I forgot she texted me. Oh, and I should ask her. No, I won't. I'll just do that myself tomorrow, because I want her to have to do it. Okay, thanks, Black Wolf, for suggesting. We'll get to that. I wrote it down. Okay, we'll get to that in an upcoming live stream. It's just another example of Umar, because he's doing a similar thing now, talking about how they're going to march because the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, that somehow they didn't inform him about how much money he owed and blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, thanks, Black Wolf. TB says, I always envision Umar teaching prisoners. yeah, while he's in there. No. He used to say that he used to go into prisons and all this stuff. One time he said something to the effect that he's been in prisons all over the world. He said most of them. I said, if you don't stop, Scott, he lies so much. It's ridiculous. Thanks, TB. Daxter says Jermaine done messed up. He's a he's a conning. Yeah. And he's a conning clown. Yeah, he really has. He's messed up. But again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and he's going to blame everybody else. But he knew this was coming down the pike. He knew it. That's why he telegraphed that. Okay, we're about to get back into it and get to the first video. Thanks, Dr. Ram says he should march his SSA to the trabajo. He sure should. Go get a job with all these degrees. Okay? Like I said, Umar hasn't contributed to this FDMG fund. It's free money. He's been living off of the money because he didn't have a job. See, if Umar was stable, he would have a residence, right? He don't even have his own residence. You'll say, well, how you say that he's living in mom? He's not supposed to be living there. It's Section 8 housing. I've said it many times before. He's not on a lease because I've already looked at it. I have that documentation. I ain't gonna show it, but I have it. See? It's Section 8 housing. Umar is not supposed to be living there. He's supposed to be coming there to take care of his mother, and there's a certain amount of hours that he's supposed to do that per week or per month. But he's not a resident there, a legal residence. Okay, but he be standing there like he is, taking over the second floor. What he needs to do is go get a job and get himself situated, set up. You see, real quick, even with his daughter. So I have a video where he says, I even have family members trying to help her out, and her mama has a house. Yeah, but why didn't Umar say, well, I have a house too? Because he don't have a house. He ain't had his own place since 2019. And when he had a place, he was living in filth. See, even if, let's say, his daughter wanted to live with him, there's no place for her to stay with him because he don't have his own place. He need to go get a job. Okay, basically. Thanks, Ram. Speed Racer Ray sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. What's up, Robbie? Said Black Ark has been a real doozy for Umar. Yeah, and we're only halfway through. He caused all this, though, no one but him. You're absolutely right. Thank you for what you do, bro. You're so welcome. Yeah, and Umar, he's going to blame everybody else, but at the end of the day, this is Umar's fault. Umar Johnson fathers, you can defend him all you want to, but at some point, you got to hold him accountable, right? There's no excuse for where things are at, except for Umar. He hasn't been handling business, and why would he? If he's not serious about opening a school, he's not going to handle basic business. I mean, paying bills is paying bills. When the donations come in, you pay the bills. Truth be told, it's all a waste of money anyway, because not one black child has been educated. So there's no excuse for this whatsoever. Okay. And again, he calls all this no one but him. Thank you, Robbie. And thank you for the kind words too in the super chat. Thank you so much. Everyone, thanks for the super chats. Just spoke Hecate or Hecate. Okay. You can't pray for God to intervene with one's free will. Umar doesn't want to change. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Faith without works. Umar has to be willing to change in the first place. The idea is you have to open up your heart. That's really what it comes down to. But you got to humble yourself in order to do that. Umar lacks humility. See, he's ungrateful. He doesn't have the spirit of gratitude. And with that, you have to be humble. And with that, you have to come with the open heart. And you got to look at your free will. See, if you have free will, then you also have to be willing to say, okay, I have the free will to what? Change. Now, like I said, you can pray for Satan all you want to, but that don't mean that Satan's going to change. Man, well, that's Umar. And again, I used to think real quick. Then we got maybe 15,000 more super chats to get to the video. I used to believe that Umar was going to change, and I thought. And it was really ignorance on my part. I thought that by me criticizing Umar, giving him constructive criticism, which I've done. I mean, I clown him too, but giving him constructive criticism, that he would figure it out at a certain point. He'd say, okay, wait a minute, I see what he's saying. Let me start taking these steps to get things in order. That's one thing. But then the other thing that I've done is I've got my own life moved and transformed in a direction that I'm proud of, right? With y'all's help, okay, but I'm proud of. And it's taken many, many years, over half a decade of hard work, diligence, having a plan, working that plan. I went back to college, picked up a degree, all these different things, a lot I can't even talk about because it has to do with my family. Just from a cybersecurity perspective, I had to pull back on that. If I could do it all again, I wouldn't have talked anything about my family going back to when I first got on YouTube. I shouldn't have done it, right? Based upon what I know now, okay, dealing with cybersecurity. The point being is that it took a lot of work and I had to humble myself. See, and I thought Umar, by him seeing that he would say, hey, wait a minute, this guy's done. He got 5 kids and a wife. Maybe I can do it too. But Umar, listen, he's hard-headed. He don't listen and he don't learn. That's the key word. See, it's one thing to fail. Last point. It's one thing to fail. and then keep failing. It's another thing to fail and then learn the lesson so that you can succeed. But you got to make changes in order to succeed. But Umar, he don't even learn the lesson in the first place. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Brother Winston says, us in Philly knew he was a scammer. Thank you for your work. Yeah, I've acknowledged this. This is to say that there are a lot of people in Philly. They knew that Umar was a scammer way before I knew that he was a scammer. There's people in Philly that knew a whole lot more information, especially early on when I first started covering Umar, than I knew. See? In fact, there's a primary source that I have from Philadelphia that has had interaction with Umar early on. When Umar, I mean, he's a mess. So this is to say that there's a lot of people in Philadelphia, you know, they knew Umar, he was rotten way before he comes into, like, I guess you can say his stardom as a social media influencer, way before he gets on the Breakfast Club. See, way before he starts calling himself Big Papa and the Prince of Pan Africanism and the most requested scholar. They knew about Umar way back then because his reputation precedes him. He's been doing dirt up in Philadelphia. So that real quick, that's why you don't really see Umar in Philly doing stuff. You would think that he would be, right? He's standing in Mama Closet when he can. Why didn't he have events in Philly? We don't see that, inconsistent events. We don't see that. Why? Because Philly don't mess with him. That's why most people who watch these videos that I do on Umar, where are they from? They from Philadelphia. John Coltrane was from Philadelphia too, by the way. People I looked up to, jazz musicians. There's a lot of great musicians come through Philly. Right? Thanks, Brother Winston, for the super chat. Host on the Cook says, I was moved by all those taken advantage of through FDMG and created funding to help some people with donation refunds. Also, yeah, you know what I think should happen is that the people who donated to Umar, they should start, especially see at this point. See here, this is the thing about Umar. He's used so many different money transfer platforms to get money out of people, and so many of those money transfer platforms have banned him because of fraud that it's difficult for people to go through the process of getting money back because he's banned off those platforms at this point. See, let me give you a quick example. GoFundMe. He collected over $400,000 on GoFundMe, and they were issuing refund checks. That's why Umar, he scrambled to get these trap banners in Wilmington, Delaware. That's why he did it. And it justifies, no, I did get a building. Okay, well, I get it. We're not going to continue to process these refunds. And then he ultimately, that account got canceled anyway, okay? But in terms of the processing of refunds. Another one is his initial PayPal. Remember, he said his PayPal got shut down. At a certain point, he said it got frozen. There was a time where he said it got shut down too. See? But see, he set up at least 2 different PayPal accounts. So it's harder for people to, and one of them is obsolete now, so it's harder for people to get their money back. Okay, what else? What about CashApp? I would propose that he got the most amount of money through CashApp because he had the CashApp for more years than he had to GoFundMe, and for more years than he had the initial PayPal account. See? But that account has been shut down because of fraud. Does that mean that people can't contact CashApp to try to get their? Yeah, they could, but it's more difficult if there's no account and there's no money in that account. See, that's when you would get into a legal situation where a suit could be filed, and then all of the donations and the different money transfer services that Umar used, digital ones in particular, that all of that would be subpoenaed, and then they can find out how much money Umar has really collected. And see, here's the thing, Southern Cooks, even if they found out all that information and they filed suit, Umar ain't got no money. How's he going to pay for restitution? So it's a very complicated situation. But what needs to happen is for enough of these victims of Umar with this school scam, if they got together to figure out a way legally to go after this guy, not that they would get their money back per se, because he ain't got the money, but at the very least they can set a precedence and put Umar in his place as a con man. Okay. Thanks, host of the Cooks. For super chat, user 225 says Umar Johnson won't come clean on anything. We ain't gonna do that. Smitty Boy says 84.2 subscribers, Uncle Leonard. You almost at 100K. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because I remember when we got up to 70, and I remember we got up to 75, and it was very recent. But my numbers have skyrocketed recently in the subscribers, monthly subscribers. That's gone. I've never gotten this amount of subscribers in this shorter period of time. So if we get to 100K at some point, which is a dream of mine, okay. If we ever get to it, we'll celebrate big time. We'll do a marathon, and we'll go into the archive and pull up old videos, and we'll watch those. I have cake and ice cream, just like we've done in the past, and we'll make it a big celebration. I'll get decorations and all of that stuff. Okay. I don't ask people to subscribe, but you enjoy the show, go on, might as well do it. In fact, if you enjoyed this live stream at any point, go on and hit that like button. Okay. Make sure you get your vote in on the poll. Let me check real quick. I want to check on Mary Ann Lawrence YouTube page and see where we're at. At this time, we had 1,000 subscribers. We did it, over 1,000. Thank you guys so much. We've gotten Mary Ann Laurent to 1,010 subscribers. Okay, so I'm going to contact her over tonight. I'll contact her tonight and let her, because she probably knows now though. But I'm gonna contact her tonight, and I'll talk with her, and then I'll have to update you guys on everything. The goal is to get her to 1,000 subscribers, and she's there, and then she's going to release the film that she did on Umar. It's a movie on Umar. There's a backstory to that as well. And once she releases it, I'll promote it heavily on my YouTube page, and we'll cover it as well. Okay, with her permission, we'll cover it. All right. Thank you, Smitty Boy, for the super chat. Again, if and when we get to 100,000 subscribers, we will celebrate. Thank you. Jonathan says Umar Bumpy Lip Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Pookiism, panhandling is riding till the wheels fall off. Yeah, the thing is, I don't think he sees any other options. He has other options. He does. He would have to come clean and do right. But because he's criminal minded, he's really locked into this. This to say that I don't think Umar sees any other options. He's been living off of this money for over a decade. And he's just used to that. I mean, you do anything for that long of a period of time, and you're lazy, and you don't have any skin in the game. You don't really care about black kids. You ain't working with no black kids. I'm talking about seriously working with no black kids. So, what's the point? Well, the point is the money. And that's what it all comes down. If he can get as much money, if he can get pennies, he even says if he can get pennies out of people, he's going to get pennies out of people, right? Until the wheels fall off. Thanks, Jonathan Kidd. 70 Vet says, he sent his Goonies after you, and you stood your ground. I remember, and I have... I think you're saying the utmost respect for you, something to that effect. Thank you so much. Yeah, he did. He's done that to other people too. At least he's threatened people. Again, like I said, he doxed my personal. He wasn't the first person to dox my personal information. One of his followers, rest in peace, she was the first person to do that. He did that, and again, at that time he didn't have 1 million subscribers, but he had hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. But he had hundreds of thousands, and you don't know who's listening. These crazy, batshit crazy Umar Johnson followers. You got those kind too. Ain't no telling what they might do, right? So more importantly, they put my family in jeopardy, and I don't take kindly to threats like that because I'm very big on protection when it comes to my kids. I'm hyper vigilant. It's because of my childhood, how I grew up. I'm very hyper vigilant when it comes to that safety and keep my family safe from any threat, even if it's a perceived threat. So for Umar to do that, big mistake on his part. And yeah, I stood my ground. And what I told myself, okay, we're gonna go even harder. And then more recently, he's done something similar. Some of you guys know about it, but I'm getting no life to no foolishness, right? And what I told myself is I'm not gonna allow him to use that to manipulate me to get out of my bag and to come at him the way that he wants me to, because that's a manipulative technique anyway for him. It's intimidation. And what I told myself is for this month, I'm gonna do my best to upload a video each day, either upload for a video, or it'll be a live stream, or if I promote someone who's done a video on Umar. So those 3 options. And so far this month, I've been able to keep that. And I've never been able to do that in the past, but I've been able to keep that goal alive. And I'm going to continue to do my best to do it for the rest of this month. That's how we handle things, right? Thank you, 78 Vet. Yeah, Umar, he thought that I would back down, but he misinterpreted. But again, that's Umar. He doesn't have intelligence on that level. He's not a strategist. He actually made things worse for himself by doing that then and then doing it more recently. Okay. Thanks, 78 Vet. Blue Static became a member. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ozzy Mandus Jones says, why call him Umar? Jermaine Shoemake is his name. That's what his mama named him. And she named him Jermaine because her favorite member of the Jackson 5 was Jermaine Jackson. So if her favorite member was Michael Jackson, Umar, maybe his name might have been Michael. Okay. Michael. All right. Thank you for the super chat. His mama named him Jermaine. We're going to call him Jermaine. Suzanne says Umar wants cash. Yeah, it's true though. I've been wanting to say it for a long time. I don't think I've ever said it before, but it slipped tonight. But it's true. It's true. That's what he's interested in. See, it fulfills two of his one directly. It fulfills his addictions. One directly dealing with the cooch, but the other one is indirectly. The cash is what he used for his substance abuse issues, and the cash is what he uses for him to be able to travel all over the world to gain access to more cooch, right? And then the cash is what he used to binge when he's binging with the food, because he has that issue too. See, so it really comes down to those two things. One enables him to get other things that he's addicted to, but the other thing is a direct addiction. You see, and at the end of the day, that's what the school scam does, because it fulfills these needs, one for cash and one for cooch, right? And I explained this earlier. See, it's diabolical for anyone to use this notion, the idea that I'm going to help your son to keep him out of the school to prison pipeline by opening up a school, and your son's going to be able to attend. But then they use that in order to get money and cooch out of black women, single black mothers. That's diabolical. Okay? Thanks, Suzanne, for the super chat. Shakira says, if you haven't been consistently exposing him, who knows how long this would have been going on. Great work, Lenon and the Cookie Crush chat. Yeah, you're right about that. I would even say, and it's going to sound arrogant, but even Umar Johnson followers, they wouldn't know 5% of what they know about Umar if it wasn't for the work that I've done and the work that other people have done in the Cookie Crush chat. There's a lot of people, they wouldn't have known 5% of what they know if it hadn't been for the work that I've done and other people who have exposed Umar in the Cookie Crush chat. And that's real talk. See, that's what I'm saying. Even you Umar Johnson followers, you like I said earlier on, a spirit of appreciation. Instead of being mad at me for telling the truth, or mad at people in the Cookie Crush chat for clowning Umar and telling the truth, you should have the spirit of gratitude, because it's better to know the truth than to believe in a lie. Amen. Have I lied on Umar? No, never have. I don't even live like that. I have integrity. I ain't gonna be lying on the man. What's the point in lying on him? When he lie all the time, all I gotta do is just show how he lying. That's all people need to see, in my opinion. All he do is lie. Ever lied on him? No, it's not even necessary. I wouldn't do it even. I still wouldn't do it. Let me give you a quick example. When the information came out that said that Umar was arrested for drug possession and something else, down in Atlanta, I knew that before anyone else reported on it. But I did my due diligence. And again, I was doing my research, because that would have been a nail in the coffin if that was true way back then, before anyone reported on it. But based upon my research, and I know how to research, I found out that wasn't Umar. Now, would it have been nice if it was Umar? Absolutely. Okay. It would have fit perfectly with what I've been saying about Umar. But I have integrity. I'm not going to use that against Umar if it's not true. See? Now, let's flip this around. Has Umar lied on me? Yeah. He said I hacked his bank accounts. I didn't hack. Why am I going to hack a bum's bank account? It don't even make no sense living in your mama's closet. Why would I do that? First of all, why would I hack a bank account in the first place? But even still, you know what I mean? Would any of y'all hack a bum's bank account that now is talking about I need some money? You know what I'm saying? It don't even make no sense. He said I was gay. He's been saying I was gay since 2020. That's not true. Now, is there some evidence that will lead people to believe that Umar got some things going on with the Thumbelina and all this stuff? Yeah, but I ain't gonna put that on him like that. I should have said Thumbelina. That ain't right. I apologize, Umar. I'm sorry about that, bro. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, I've been wanting to say it for a long time. Anyway, I have integrity like that. See, and I'm not going to lie on Umar, even if it may be true, but I don't know it to be true. I ain't going to put that on him. All right. All right. Anyway, thanks, Shakira, for the super chat. Yeah, I've been wanting to say that for such a long time, ever since Lene. Anyway, Chris says, Mary Ann YouTube channel is at 1,000 subs now. Chris says Umar's worst nightmare. Yeah, and there's more coming down the pike, especially with this Mary Ann Loyan thing, because I'll talk with her behind the scenes. There's a plan. All right. So thank you everyone for subscribing to Mary Ann Loyan. The goal was to get to 1,000. We're at 1,000, and again, I'll be texting her we communicate over Facebook. I'll be DMing her to see what the next step is and when this will premiere. Okay, and then once I find out, I'll report back, and we're gonna be ready to go. Okay, if she does it as a premiere where she has a chat room, I'll let people know. I'll be up there. We can all hang out and watch it all together. Okay. Thanks, Chris, and thanks to everyone who subscribed to Mary Ann Loyan. I appreciate it. Really Doe says, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll take a look at my here we go. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at the bank and realizing it's nothing less left, because I've been pimping and trash so long that even my mama want my ass out the closet. The last part don't even rhyme. Come on now, but it's true. All right. Yeah, that was the jam back in the day, because they had the Stevie Wonder. That was the Coolio. They had the Stevie Wonder backing track and all that kind of stuff. That was the jam. Yeah. And rest in peace to Coolio. Thanks, really, though. You crazy. Kevin says, do only boomers donate money? No. There's all kinds of people that's donated money to Umar. You know, there were people who were senior citizens that used to donate to Umar, and they've passed on. I want y'all to think about that. In fact, I know someone that the reason why they started watching my videos was because their grandmother was donating to Umar. And they knew it was wrong. What he was doing was wrong. So listen, Umar, he's gotten money out of all generations, except probably the youngest generation now. A lot of these younger people, they know something ain't right with Umar because he's all on Instagram. They be on Instagram. And there's people exposed him on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. I'm just on YouTube. But there's people on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. And they've been exposing Umar, and they see these videos. My kids, that sometimes they say, Daddy, you see this video right here? Look, I said, no, I haven't seen that video, you know. So, yeah, I think that the younger generation, a lot of them, they have more, especially because they've been raised on the internet. A lot of, well, I don't mean to say it that way, but they've been raised with social media, that they see things a lot differently than those of us that we didn't have social media. I was telling my kids, my daughters, that I was taking them to school. I told them this morning, I was like, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't even have cell phones. And I was like, what? I said, yeah, you know, and back in the day, really, when I was really young, we only had, my grandmama had one phone in the house. And when you had that one phone, you couldn't, only one person could be on the phone at a time. I said, really? I said, yeah. And there were times in that neighborhood, if there was too many people on the phone on their phone at the same time, you couldn't even call out. Yeah, my grandma had one of them rotary phones. That goes to show you how old I am. My kids was like, what? A rotary phone? What are you talking about? Right? So their whole, how they see things is totally different. They have access to information. So a lot of these younger people, they know Umar, he's on some bullshit. Ain't that right, son? Son. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
There you go. See, his voice is deeper than mine now. He almost as tall as me, too. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Jay Civic says, it's sick that he takes from the community and then points the finger in another direction to take the heat off of him. He has a history of that. Very well said. When he's stealing. Yeah. He has a history of that. See? What Umar does is he takes from the black community, and then when things go left, he blames other people. There's been times, Jay Civic, where he's blamed his donors. There's plenty of even more times where he blames black people for the reason why things are weird. And my haters and the YouTube and struggle streamers and the cookie grut chat and all this other stuff. See? He points the finger at other people. He has followers that do that too. You know, they try to blame other people because they believe what Umar is saying. But if you do the research and you see, and you're honest about what you're seeing, you'll realize that no, this is all about Umar. This is all Umar's fault. Ain't nobody's fault but Umar. Someone said this. I think it was Black Wolf said this earlier. He wants to blame everybody else all the time, and he points the finger. That's one thing you see about Umar. That's the narcissism. Narcissists, they don't want to hold themselves accountable. They can do the wrong over and over and over again, but it's always someone else. They're always the victim. It's always someone else's fault. And then that's what they get into that gaslighting shit. Well, Umar does that a lot too, see, to get the heat off of him. Now he's saying it's a sitting of Wilmington, it's a state of Delaware, and it's discrimination. It ain't got nothing to do. You don't pay the bills. This is what happens. Thanks, J Civic. Tink Geek says on his IG saying he's offering life coaching and couples coaching for $100 a piece all of a sudden. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Let me go over here. Well, he needs money. He just posting random stuff. Yeah, he posting random stuff up here now. I can just tell. See, he's trying to get attention away from that video because he took it down. So he's been posting a lot since he took that video down. Okay. Let me say something else though with Umar. There's so many different ways that Umar, he could have etched out a great living if he wasn't criminal minded and did things the right way. See, can't nobody tell me that Umar with 1.1 million followers on Instagram couldn't have monetized in order to bring in $10,000 a month. If he had done Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook and knew what he was doing with social media, $200,000 a month, $250,000, $300,000 a month, just scale it up over time. See, and see if he wasn't criminal minded and if he wasn't batshit crazy, because that's part of the problem too. Yeah, he could have offered coaching. He could have offered. What he could have done is got certifications, because he doesn't hold any professional certification. He could have maintained the certifications as a school psychologist. He could have expanded that to a family therapist, got a license, and just done it over time, and then provide that services through a website, right? And then use his social media to promote that at the same time. There's so many different ways that he could have done this, including setting up a website, FDMGacademy.com. I talked about this extensively in the past. That's another way that he could have brought even in more income, where he's a millionaire by now, 2-3 times over. See, but because he's criminal minded and he wants quick money, and because he's lazy, he doesn't have the discipline, he doesn't have the get up and go, the ambition, right, to do things legitimately with the work involved with building things up over time. He resorted to scamming, which goes back to 2005 in the UNIA, at least in 2005 with the UNIA. But you see how things have played out. Look where he's at today. That's what I'm saying. Umar has no excuse, and you, Umar Johnson followers, you can blame everybody else, but he had everything that he needed to maximize on his potential in order to etch out a wonderful life, financial life at the very least. See, but look at him now. He don't got his own home. He's been homeless since 2019. He always begging for money, consistently begs for money, and he ain't got a pot to piss in 2025. He may even lose these properties in 2025. Well. So that's why he's doing this. Listen, he may even bring back what was he calling those things, the black parent teleconferences, and try to get money out of people that way. And you want to do consultations with me, blah blah blah. I'm doing this for free, but then you beat the ass. But anyway, thanks Tink Gee for the super chat. Well, I'm sorry, people. I know I said I was going, but I got to do these super chats. Okay. I apologize, but hey, listen, I appreciate it. Sister 1973 says, when he was at that phone call and his phone rang, I fell out and said, if anyone believes him after that, they need serious counseling. No joke. Yeah. That was a wake up call. Real talk, Sister 1973, that rant in and of itself was a wake up call. Right. Umar, I have some of that inside of the video for members. I'll have that either tomorrow or probably Friday. I've already exported and everything. I was waiting for it to export before I start this live stream. It's about an hour long, and I have the version that is it's not censored, so you'll hear how Umar was talking. So the video itself, it woke a lot of people up. I think out of all the Umar Johnson's rants, out of all the stuff that Umar has brought, all the foolishness that he's done, that video, in my opinion, is the most important video to see Umar for who he truly is. But when that phone rang and Umar took that phone and he gives, like he goes like that, he doesn't accept the call, then he puts it down, and then he waits a little while longer and picks it back up, and then starts talking, and then it rings. Who does that? Anybody want me to play it? Hit the one. That goes to show you how. I mean, this guy, it's all to paint a narrative. He's a pathological liar. That's what he's doing there, because he wants people to think that he has these thugs on deck and they calling him because they're gonna get with SETI, and he's like, nah, I got this. I got Umar, you fake thug. You ain't nothing but a. Let me stop. Do I need to pull it up? Listen, Ginger said pull it. I'll pull it up. Because I can't remember what you said. That I wrote it down. I got to find that piece of paper. But whatever you said that one time, let me pull this up for y'all. This just goes to show you how Umar, he out there. It woke a lot of people up. Okay, hold on one second. Let me pull this up for you all. This goes back, I think it was 2017. I could be wrong about that, because this was a while ago. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is I'll pull up. Do I still have it on here? Let me pull up the video that I pulled up earlier, and I'll just skip through that part because I have it in here. And let me not do the YouTube version. Should I do the YouTube version? No, because that part he's not going crazy, cursing all up a storm. So let me pull it up, and then what I'll do is I'll skip through it. But let me click this over here, right here. All right.
He got 2 younger brothers. Well, no, he got 3 younger brothers. Well, no, 4. He got 4 younger brothers. Mm-hmm. But 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just play this because this is just the intro. I want y'all to hear this.
Some had the same dad. One of them don't.
Yeah. So one is Jamal, 3 from Jamal, and then one from I got you. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So the 3 from the 3 that's the youngest from Jamal went to the house, kicked the door in, and would try to fight Umar. And Umar pulled a gun out. And he was like, oh, is you going to shoot me? Shoot me type situation, which Umar didn't do, obviously.
I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, you remember, you guys, and this video is almost an hour long. Okay, so let's look forward to that. It's probably on Friday. Okay. I have it exported already, but I think I'll release it on Friday. Then I have a version for YouTube, but I'm gonna break it up into segments. It's censored. Okay, so this is the video right here. I'm not gonna play it, but there's the phone call right there. Here we go. Hold on one second. Yeah, here we go right here. Watch this.
Y'all lazy. All they running around is intellectually masturbating old ass information. Like Papa Smurf. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That
obviously.
Okay, real quick. You see how he reaches down to cancel the call in essence? You guys see that? He was tripping in this video. I should pull up. Let me not do it because we still. I had a whole plan for today. We got blown off big time. Anyway, watch this.
It's gonna be children and mothers in there, and we gonna keep the shit gangster. You got some personal shit with me, we can handle that shit out back.
We can handle that outside.
I know the conscious community got y'all lazy. All they running around is intellectually masturbating old ass information.
Here we go.
Like Papa Smurf. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I answered the call, nigga.
Whoa. Oh, man. Anyway, y'all see what I'm talking about? Okay, there's no one on that phone.
That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get me, but I'm sexy with it's gonna be children and mothers.
He was tripping.
Y'all lazy. All they running around is intellectually masturbating old ass information. Like Papa Smurf. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this.
That woke a lot of people up. Okay. Anyway, all right. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. That was from Sister 1973. Yeah, he needs some counseling. He out there, but he wanted to paint the narrative that he a thuggish. He got thugs on deck and all this other stuff. Ain't nothing but a Pookie Bear. Sal says, think of it this way. If Umar scams again with a new project, the Cookie Crush chat stay in business and you get to keep making money off his stupidity. Yeah, we'll have to see how things play. I mean, I could definitely use a break. I can tell you that right now. But the thing is, we'll see how things play itself. I have a contingency plan. I've done plenty of work dealing with Umar. We'll have to wait and see what happens. My best guess is he's going to try to get the money to keep these buildings. But on the other hand, if he doesn't come up with the money, I mean, he could get the money and just keep it for himself and then say he didn't get enough money, right? Because he's a con man. He's criminal minded in that way. But even if they take these buildings, that's when he would have to pivot. And I could see him just starting. He's going to end up starting a new scam. What else is he going to do? And if he does that, we'll just follow that scam. I don't know. I mean, he's come up with so much crazy stuff over the years. He may pick one of the old things that, that he said he was going to do. Just pick because there was a time where it was the Umar Johnson Boy Scout program, something to that effect. Just anyway. There was a time where he was trying to teach martial arts. Can you see Umar doing martial arts? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, Sal, for the super chat. Robbie says, I wish Tiff could come on and tell her story. Yeah, if she wanted to do it, I would have to talk to her in advance, offline. And then, I would have to consider it. If she knows information about Umar that would be pertinent to what I've talked about and other people who've exposed Umar, I would have her on. I would have her on, but it would have to specifically be that. There's other women out there that were close to Umar. I would have them on. I would have to meet with them in advance, and then go from there. I have to vet people too. There's women that have reached out to me, especially since the Lenon situation happened. They give me information privately, and they don't want it to ever be talked about. They've provided me receipts and everything, text messages and all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people out there. They don't know how deviant Umar is and how much damage he has caused in people's lives. They have no clue. But if Tiff Griff wants to come on and talk about her experience dealing with Umar, I would consider it. Thanks, Robbie. S.H. Play says this channel isn't about Umar. It's about the community you built. Yeah, this is something too I think is, and I've said it in the past, I haven't seen anything like this with the Cookie Crush chat. I've seen other YouTube pages, but there is something that's special. I don't think that it's something that can happen overnight either. Some of you guys, you guys been around a long time. Some of you guys were around when I was really, really struggling, and I own up to all that. I don't blame anybody else. It was my fault, made a lot of mistakes, wasn't focusing on the right things, just a screw up in essence. Okay. I was still here with my family, dedicated to my wife, dedicated to my kids, but I just wasn't handling business like I should have been. Now, in retrospect, there's a lot that I learned that I definitely could impart upon younger men so that they won't make the same mistakes. But I wish I had done things differently. The point is that the journey, it's not so much about Umar, it's about everything else that has taken place in the Cookie Crush. I mean, people getting married, people getting degrees, people picking up certifications, etc. All those types of things. There's a community here that I definitely appreciate, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys. Even if we wasn't talking about Umar, right? So thank you, SH Play, for saying that. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a member for 2 months. Tink Gee says, I've been thinking this from day one. How is a successful doctor not personally invested in his own dream? He should have been working and investing this whole time along with the donors. Yeah, and if he had done this when he conceptualized this in 2004, where would he be today? Or if he had done this in 2010 when he posted on his Facebook page. Promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan African School for Black Boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend. Grand opening September 11, 2013. This is Chestnut Checkers. See, what if Umar back in 2010 he utilized his skills with the side D, and he saved and he saved, and he just didn't work one job because, you know, if you want to make a dream happen, you got to do what you got to do. Listen, I have my day job, the full-time job, and I got YouTube, which is a part-time job. Listen, over the last, because I've been at with this company for, it's been about I want to say about a little over almost 2.5 years. And there's been few times where I got 8 hours of sleep. Like very few. Like I have to take a PTO day in order to try to get 8 hours. I'm talking about when you sleep for 8 straight hours. See? But I got a family to take care of. You know, I got this community here on YouTube. I got to produce content. We get together. We have a good time. Yeah, I make good money on here too. So I appreciate that. That's why I always thank people. But that takes ambition. It also takes sacrifice. I've sacrificed a lot, even just to be here on YouTube, real talk. But Umar, he doesn't have that ambition. What he should have done, like you're suggesting, is from the jump back in 2010, let's just say in 2010, he should have consistently been working as a school psychologist and then pick up a part-time job doing something else. And then, yeah, if you tell people this, I want to open up this school and I'm doing everything that I can in order to make it happen. But I also want to, raise some donations, see if we can raise some donations to contribute to this. But I'm going to have complete transparency. This would include, Tink, all the money that Umar is putting into the pot based upon him working his ass off, right? And then all of the donors' money that they're putting in over time, which he's never been transparent about. He's never provided receipts. Umar don't even know how much money he's collected from these donors. But he don't have any skin in the game. And Tink, what if he did this starting in 2010 and he did this all the way to for 15 years? I know that sounds crazy, don't it? But he didn't spend the money on himself. He didn't trick the money off gambling. He didn't trick the money off traveling all over the world, going to Africa. He didn't trick the money off, buying rental cars and living in and out of hotel rooms and eating good and all this other freaky deaky stuff he into. What if he did that for 15 years? See, and people say, well, that's a long time. Yeah, I know, I get it. But you think about it here in 2025, he's about to lose. It's possible he's going to lose these buildings. So all of the money that was spent, that was sent to Umar, which he didn't contribute to at not one penny. All of the money, potentially it could just evaporate and it's all lost. So yeah, in my mind, I would much rather Umar had worked the job and just consistently a full-time and a part-time, handled the business and still do stuff online and still get donations for 15 years to get to 2025 so that he has a significant amount of money, but with transparency, and then he can't keep making excuses indefinitely. This makes sense? I would much rather that had happened. But see, we're dealing with someone who's criminal-minded and who's lazy. He's so used to people sending him money for free, and he don't have to give nothing back except run his mouth. That's why things are where they're at today, because he don't handle business. If he was handling business, this is what he would have been doing from the beginning. Right? And he would have been working with the investors or the donors from day one. That's not what he does. You donors, has Umar, real quick, you donors who are watching this right now, has Umar worked with you to make this happen? How did he work with you? No, I'm not talking about where you got to pay him to come paint. Huh? Where they do that at? Literally, you got to pay him to come paint for free. You got to pay him to come clean up for free. That's not what I'm talking about. See? Anyway. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. He did you donors dirty. He about to lose. Potentially, he's gonna lose these buildings in a couple of months. All that money wasted. It's already been wasted anyway, because not one black child has been educated. Anyway, thank you, Tink, for the super chat. Iceman Fam says, has Umar ever shouted out his Utah Africans? Yes, he has. Because when Umar was threatening me, he kept saying stuff like, yeah, we're gonna have a ski mask team, because it's snow out here a lot. We're gonna have a ski mask team and we're gonna handle him. Umar, if you don't cut it out. I mean, this guy, he be living in fantasy land. Goofy. Thanks, Iceman Fam. Ski mask team. Anton says, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to bid a farewell to the biggest scammer in social media history, Umar Johnson. Dearly beloved. I like that. I might have to use that. Thank you, in a skit or something. Thank you, Antoine. If I use it, don't be mad at me, okay? Because I'm probably not gonna remember you the one that But it is true, though. You know, we're going to do it. FDMG eulogy. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Antoine, for super chat. Lou I'm sorry. Llewellyn Moss. It sounds like a name from the elves from Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? You an elf? You know the elves. They can live forever. They're real quick on their feet too. They be doing that bow and arrow stuff. Yeah. Says, man, if I seen this man on the street, I salt and pepper his. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Said you can't keep conning black people with no consequences. Something gotta get. Umar, he's faced consequences. It's just it's not open. You know what I'm saying? He's faced consequences. I mean, I face consequences from doing Umar videos. The difference is I don't parade around like I'm a victim. See, I knew what I was in for. See, I've had to deal with all kind of crazy. Y'all have no clue. I tell stories every once in a while, but y'all have no clue the type of crazy shit I've had to deal with since I started talking about Umar consistently. You got to see how some of these Umar Johnson followers, some are bad shit crazy. I'm not saying all y'all, but some of y'all, some of y'all, you just over the top crazy with it. You know, the difference is I don't walk around talking about, well, they did this to me. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. I knew what I was getting myself into. All right. And I'm not going to be up here, trying to cry, be all, and I can't believe it. And, this and that, and I blame and pointing the finger. No, I'm not going to do that. Umar, that's what Umar do. See? The point is that Umar, it's not that Umar hasn't faced consequences. Let me say what I mean. Here we are in 2025, and Umar could lose these properties in a couple of months. People on social media are going in on him, including his followers. Y'all, when you have some time, go on the King Kong Consciousness YouTube page and go look at the comments from the video that they posted today, which is the video that Umar took down. Those are consequences. See, and on top of that, it's not just that there are people who are waking up and more people are criticizing. This affects his bottom line because everything is about money with this guy. Less and less money is coming in. That's why just last year he said he only collected $80,000 in donations. 80,000 for 2024. If we go back in a year and a half, back in 2015, 2015, Umar, I have the video. Umar stated that he was already at $500,000. Now you down to 80,000. And if you want to extend that for a year and a half, using that, it'd be about 120,000. How you go from 500,000? Now you're only bringing in 120,000 on average over the course of a year and a half. See, those are consequences. See? He don't fuck the money up. I was talking about this yesterday. I shouldn't have said what I said, but it's true. See, he tricked it off. Those are consequences. Here's another one. Then we move on. This has been a super chat show. Here's another one, another example. Umar claims that he started raising money in 2014. I know that he was raising money at least since 2009, but there's people who said 2008, 2007 online, right? There's people posting this all over the place. I've seen it time and time again over the years. How is it possible? Let's just go with 2014. How is it possible that Umar has raised millions of dollars? Based upon my calculations, again, from 2019 through 2024, $1.67 million. How is it possible he's collected all this money and he's been homeless since 2019? That's a consequence. See, not one of you can say, including you, that if people gave you upwards of $2.7 million, but a bare minimum of $1.67 million since 2019 from 2019 to 2024, none of you can tell me that you would be in a position where you're homeless since 2019. Umar's been homeless 2020, all of 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2024, and half of 2025. That's 4.5 years of being homeless. That's a consequence. And he's about to be 51 with at least 3 baby mamas. and no vehicle, living in the mama closet on Section 8 housing. What? That's a consequence. See? Yeah. So yeah, things have the difference is that what's happening now, more and more is coming out about Umar and in particular his personals. That's a consequence too. See what Lene has done to Umar, that's a consequence. See, and you know what's crazy? Llewellyn, is that we've only scratched the tip of the iceberg. See, Umar's been at this living diabolically for decades now. And where he's at today and where FDMG is at today, that's a consequence of how Umar's been living. All right. But there's more to come. There's more to come. All right. Thank you for the super chat. The Music Recording Network sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brother O says, if the buildings are auctioned off after all the debts are paid, do the remaining proceeds return to Umar? Property values have risen. Good profit. The value of those buildings, the last time I checked, now I meant to pull it up again. I found it online. It's declined. From what I remember, it was like $360,000, if memory serves me correctly. There was a time in 2020 where the value was closer to $500,000. You see? So this is okay. So answering your question, I thought that if these buildings go to auction, that whatever the sale price is, which is going to be less than the actual value, I know that for sure. Because again, Umar hasn't done anything of consequence. They've been sitting for another 6.5 years. Prior to that, was sitting for 4. So altogether, they've been sitting there for about a decade. Let's say that after the city of Wilmington recoups the amount of money that Umar owes, which is $38,388.22. Let's say if there is $250,000 left over. I assumed that $250,000 would go back to Umar, but someone posted, and I don't know if this is true. Someone's gonna have to do the research because this is not my expertise. But someone was saying that, and they were in real estate and in the state of Delaware, that's not what would happen. That basically Umar wouldn't get anything. Okay, I don't know how this would work out. And see, the thing is that if that did happen, what would happen is Umar would get that money and then he can walk away. See, this is what I'm saying. It's not over if they're sold, because we would still have to see what happens after they're sold, and that would be public record too. See, so again, this is not my expertise. That's what I assumed, and based upon the first time years ago, there was a situation that was similar to this. It wasn't the same thing, and we were speculating about what would happen if these properties were sold at auction, right, at a sheriff's sale. I don't know for sure. Okay. And if anyone has that information, you can email me. Okay. LenonHonor@yahoo.com. And if you have receipts to back it up, I would appreciate that too, because I can come back on and I can clarify. But that's one option, that he would receive a certain amount of money back. But another option is that he doesn't receive anything. That's a potential too, right? I would think though that he would have to that some money would be sent back to him, right? All right. Thanks, Brother O. And yeah, in essence, he could profit. Not that it would be more than the purchase price, allegedly $400,000, but that then he can take whatever money, let's say if it's $120,000, $200,000, whatever it would be, he would take that money and he would just leave this whole project behind him, and they don't have to deal with the buildings anymore. And he just goes on about his merry way until that money runs out. Then he comes up with a new scam. Okay. Thank you, Brother O, for super chat. The Music Recording Network says, keep doing your thing, bro. We are behind you 100%. We do a lot of your videos to help spread the word. I want to help you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I noticed that there's more people who are covering Umar, which is good. And there's also people who are like replaying my videos and all that stuff. I do appreciate that. The more and more people learn about Umar, it may take some time, but it'd be it'd be for the betterment. Again, it's not just what Umar is doing with this school scam, right? It's also what Umar is doing to these Black women. It's also the damage that Umar has caused in terms of the trust in the Black community. Because if you have someone like Umar who has this stage, he has a platform. I mean, again, 1.1 million followers on Instagram alone. He gets on the Breakfast Club. 3, 4, 5 million views, etc. You have someone on that's on that level as a social media influencer doing this to black people, betraying black people, betraying the trust of black people, devolving the trust that black people have in other black people. Well, then what happens with when the next person comes around who's serious about opening up a school or has a project that's worthy of being supported financially? There are going to be people going to say, no, I'm not going to do that, because remember what Umar did? See? What if it's someone who wants to write a book, or they want to do a documentary, right? Or they're having, let's say, they're trying to open up a business, right? That would be of service to the black community. But because of Umar's betrayal, there are going to be more people going to be side-eyeing it because of Umar. See? That's another issue that I have with this guy. See? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Joser or Jose Falcon says, start a GoFundMe to buy the building from the city I auction. Listen, if it was presented to me as an option to purchase those trap bandos and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Preeminently because in 2019, the EPA issued a report, the Environmental Protection Agency, and they classified these buildings as brownfield catalyst sites. And Umar hasn't remedied that issue. That's dangerous. It's dangerous to even be in these buildings. And even, listen, Umar should have never had people up in there. See, whatever the EPA, what the EPA said was that these are brownfield catalyst sites, and they suggested to the city what? To demolish these buildings. Now, if an Environment Protection Agency tells you to demolish a building, you know there's some shit going on, some serious shit going on. Lead paint, asbestos, we know that there's black mold in there. Who knows what else is going on? Because Umar ain't done nothing. I'm talking about anything substantive. Everything has been superficial, nothing substantive. So listen, for me, I mean, if I was sitting on $4 million and I had an opportunity to purchase those trap banners for 200, I wouldn't even waste my time. I'm talking about 200,000. I wouldn't do it. It's just, and not to be, don't take this the wrong way, but it's in a crime infested neighborhood. It's a weed and seed community. There's homeless people, drugs, all drug dealing and all people be doing drugs up there. There's been times with Umar, he up there, he moves stuff around from trash. You see a syringe sitting up over there. He didn't mention that. Someone had a bucket and they were using it, to urinate in it and for feces. Huh? What kind of school? That's a school? I have a video I can pull up right now. There's a homeless lady sleeping on the steps, literally. Don't make me pull that up. That's just sad, just sad. See? So there's this crime infested. The year prior to Umar purchasing these trap bandos, the city of Wilmington was ranked 6th or 7th in the nation for violent crime per capita. I'm going by, no, it wouldn't happen. Dude, I might go and buy me a Chuck E. Cheese. Y'all just come through. You know that thing where they be hitting them things? Y'all come on through. That y'all. Umar, he be working there. He be Chuck E. Cheese. He be walking around, annoying people and shit. Hey, you get it on your cash. Yeah. I said, listen. Anyway, listen, Chucky, you need. Okay, thanks, Jose. For super chat. Baldy Lock says the T app doesn't allow screenshots for women's safety purposes, but a lot of women said he sleeps with snow bunnies and pays them off to be quiet. Oh my God. Listen, I'm not going to download that app. I'm not going to do it because that's too much. Yeah, it doesn't allow. Yeah, there are. I know about that. There are security measures so that you can't take screenshots of certain things, even on your cell phone. But I know what you're talking about. Anyway, there was someone who was saying that I should look on this T app because there's people on there talking about Umar and how when they dated him and what he was doing and what he was into. And allegedly he was dealing with some quote unquote snow bunnies, allegedly, and he pay them off. I don't know. I will say this. I'm sure that Umar has paid money to women for their silence. I know that for a fact. Okay. There's this one woman that she was intimate with Umar, and afterwards he sent her a PayPal. She didn't even ask for it. I said, why would he do that? And then someone said, well, he's probably used to paying for it. I said, what? Again, man, if that's what I'm not here to judge, but Listen, I got 5 kids. You ain't gonna catch me paying. Well, I'm married too. I guess that matters too. You know what I'm saying? but even if I wasn't married, I ain't paying for that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know how expensive groceries is? Gonna pay for some poutine. No. All right, thanks, Baldy Locks. Did I say poutine? That's what shows how old I am. Zaffer Kelly says, whatever happened to Sharon? I don't know. I haven't seen Sharon around in a long time. I think she's still behind the scenes. I think she's the one that does the graphics for Umar when he posts on Instagram. She's been on this scam from day one. Well, I shouldn't say day one, but no, because she, oh my goodness, yeah. Let me say since in and around 2014. Yeah, I'll say that. Possibly before that, okay? It's likely that it was before that because she's one of his day ones, but she was never really out front like that. And more recently, we haven't seen her. But part of the issue is that Umar, a lot of those people that were around back then, he don't even be having them on video anymore. I'm gonna tell you why I think that's the case, though. Too, I think the substance abuse has gotten so out of control that he's become more and more. And people that got that, they get real greedy. They don't care about nobody else. They'll take people's money, They'll take a person's car and go sell that shit and get the money to go get their substance. I mean, they take people's clothes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I grew up around this shit. I know what I'm talking about. What I believe has happened is, first of all, Umar's substance abuse has gotten more and more out of control, and he's gotten more and more greedy as a consequence. But then the money hasn't come in like it used to. See, in his heyday, he had a lot of people around him because they knew he had a lot of money, and I'm sure that he was kind of spreading that money around. But at a certain point, once that money starts to dry, and then that substance abuse really takes over, he's not trying to kick it with people like he used to. He ain't trying to spend money wildly, take them out to eat and all this kind of stuff. He ain't trying to do all that stuff like he used to, because there's not enough money, at least in his own mind, in order for him to get what he needs. And that's what his life revolves around. See, that's what I think. And I think there's people, and I'm not saying this is the case with Sharon, but I think that there's a lot of people that's why they're not around anymore. Right? Thanks for the super chat. Ralph says, will he get the proceeds if the city takes the sales? Again, I explained this earlier. I'm not quite sure. Again, if there's anyone who has information on that, please email me and I'll report on it. I assume that he would. But that may not necessarily be the case. Again, it depends on how much money they're trying to get out of Umar, how much they sell these properties for, if it actually goes to sheriff's sale. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Thanks, Ralph G. Shout out to the Autobots. Transformers were my favorite cartoon growing up. SH Play says the truth always wins in the end. It took a while, but Umar is done. Yeah. More and more people realize the truth about Umar. I mean, again, I've been talking about it for years. But more and more people are waking up these days. More and more people are talking about it, which is good. And more and more of his followers, you can see it if you guys, when you have some time, head on over to King Kong Conscious, the YouTube page, and just scroll down through the comments. You see exactly what I mean. It took a while, it took a long time, but here we are. I forgot to text well, I'll just handle this tomorrow. I forgot to text her because I was going to ask her to get me something, but I'll just do it tomorrow. Thanks, SH Play, for super chat. What's up, Mr. Controversy? Says Lenon, Star from the Star Report gives you props and references you as a source. Okay, the Star Report is huge, bro. Salute. Your message is getting to the masses. Yeah, I'm familiar with Star Report. I tag him sometimes in some of these videos. In fact, the more recent videos, I've tagged him. I remember when I did the documentary, he did reach out to me, but I just wasn't comfortable, at least at that time, to go on other platforms to talk about the first documentary. This is many, many years ago. But I'm aware of him, and I've seen many of his videos over the years. It's not that he covers Umar a lot, but when he does, I'll watch. Yeah, he won't call me brother though. I don't like that. If he called me brother one time, we'd be real cool. I'm just playing. Anyway, he did a video today to talk about Umar. I think he did one yesterday too. Yeah, I think it was yesterday, but I think it was today. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but at some point I'll take a look. Yeah. And people who have been because Pocket Watcher with JT, he actually gave me a shout out too. I really appreciate that, because there's people who came over from Pocket Watcher with JT. He's big time. Star Report, he's been around a long time, a lot of success on YouTube. He's big time too. So when people do that, I really do appreciate it. So shout out to Star Report. Thank you for doing that. You didn't have to, but I appreciate that. And also thank you to Pocket Watcher with JT and anyone else too who does that. I appreciate that. Okay? Thanks, Mr. Controversy, for the super chat. Thanks for letting me know too. I appreciate it. Constance became a member. Thank you so much, Constance. I appreciate it. Black Wolf gifted another membership. Thank you, Black Wolf. Okay, whoever see that membership, make sure you thank Black Wolf, the OG. I'm trying to get down to the bottom, but it is what it is. User 225 says, how aware are African nations of Umar Johnson's shadiness? I will say this, that more and more Africans are waking up too, because I've been seeing people say things like, don't come to Ghana, don't come back to Ghana. Or they'll say, I'm from Ghana and we don't claim you, that kind of thing. So I think that there are more Africans that are waking up. The way that this happens is, again, people in Philly, they knew about Umar way before anyone else, way before I did, for sure. They knew that he was a charlatan, a con man, he was no good. And then it just, I think people in New York also knew too, because he did a lot of dealings in New York, shady shit that he was doing too, way back in the day out there. That's back in the, that was in the Sonetta days, right? And then the rest of the people around in the country, as he kind of expanded out, especially after Hidden Colors, they hear about Umar more and more, and then they start to hear things and rumblings and this and that, and then conscious strippers, Sadie Grant, and more and more people, they realize here in the United States of America, that's how it's worked. And then more recently, I think people in Africa, in different countries in Africa, they're realizing more and more about who Umar is and what he's really all about. And over time, those numbers will grow. Ultimately, this is Umar's doing. Right? This is Umar's doing. Thanks, user 225. Daniel says, school never, donations forever. And that's really what this comes down to, Umar. With Umar, it was always about the money. It wasn't about opening up a school. That's what the evidence shows me. And I'm about the receipts. I'm about the evidence and proof. I'm about the research and the timeline. The timeline is huge. It does not take a person. He conceptualizes in 2024. It doesn't take a person over 20 years to get something started. Even if he wasn't asking for donations, and there's nothing wrong with that, but even if he wasn't asking for donations, he should have been able to create something after, if he was serious, right? After 20 years. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with him collecting donations if the donations are going towards what he said it was going to go to. I know for a fact that most of the money that Umar has raised has not gone towards what he said he was going to use the money for. He's been living off of this money. Okay. Real quick. Hey, buddy. Umar raised money for a documentary. He called it the Shockumentary, and it was supposed to premiere in the fall of 2014. He was still collecting money. I thought it was 2020, but I ran across the video in 2022 where he was still asking for money for this documentary that was supposed to premiere in 2014. What kind of man? Well, that's a con man. What kind of scam? It's supposed to premiere in 2014. He still asks for money in 2022. Doesn't that sound familiar? See? So the point is, it's about donations forever. Production never, because he never produces what he says he's going to produce. He was collecting money for that. There's other things too that he's collecting money for that he never produced on. That's just one example. Okay, obviously the permanent example is the St. Paul's College and the Wilmington, St. Paul's College school scam and the Wilmington school scam, and all the other lesser scams, including that Detroit scam. That was crazy. Thanks, Daniel, for the super chat. Quincy became a member. Thank you so much. Shout out to the number 23. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to see what team that is. It's probably a high school team because he looks like a young brother. Yeah. It look like you got a little jump shot. You can dribble a little bit, left, right hand, maybe dunk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? All right. Thanks for becoming a member. I used to ball with the homies back in the day. I wasn't really good at it. You know what I'm saying? I could dribble real good, but that was about it. No jump shot, couldn't dunk, couldn't shoot the three, but I would have fun. I'll tell you that. Thank you for becoming a member. Doctrine Dark says, hey, then have you ever donated at one point, and what drives you to keep the pressure on Umar? I never donated because I knew back in 2014 when someone sent me a video about Umar, and it's the one where he's up there at these abandoned buildings. I've played it before. I knew right away that something wasn't right. He didn't have a team. He looked goofy. I'm sorry me to say it that way, but he looked goofy. He had on some jeans, walking around the St. Paul's College looking goofy. The video itself, it's not like he had a professional team with editing and different camera angles and none of that stuff. So it wasn't professionally done. The audio wasn't all that great either. I can play. It wasn't bad per se, but there's things. And I'm a musician. I studied music for a very long time, so audio is very important to me. And even in video production, if your audio is horrible, it doesn't matter what the video quality is. If your video quality is not up to par, as long as you have audio, good audio quality, you can get away with it. You're just going to have to manipulate the video to make it presentable. But you can't manipulate bad audio, okay? Unless it's something simple, like if there's too much echo, right? There is you can get some of that echo out of there, because I have a plug-in on Premiere Pro that I use for that, especially when Umar's back in the day when he was in large venues, it'd be that echo. Anyway, I knew back then it was shady. He didn't have a team. He didn't have a plan. He still doesn't have a plan to this day. So I never donated, and I've donated to other people with their projects. I have even to Q Butter later on. I've done that. There's people who fell on hard times, and I've donated to. I have a friend who passed away. She was a friend of mine in college. I remember her and we went to my cousin's. This was the first time I was in college at UC Irvine. We went to my cousin's. I took her to my cousin's marriage, his wedding, and we drove down, and she met the family and all that. So just a really wonderful young lady. She passed recently, and I donated to her and her family because she was, I didn't know any of that was going on, but really, really wonderful person. But to Umar, no, because Umar hasn't produced anything to date. With all the stuff that he's collected money for, he hasn't produced anything. And then what drives me to keep the pressure on Umar, there's really three things. Number one, how he's exploiting the Black community. It's just wrong. And he's been doing it for such a long time. Right. And he thinks that he's getting away with it, but he's not. Justice will be served. Okay. Number two, the exploitation of Black women. As a man, I just don't, we have to speak out against that. And I've always been that way, even in the real world. See, you want to do another dude dirty, you're going to pay a consequence, but you got to be a punk to be doing these women like this. And men should speak out against that. See, what Umar has done with the sexual exploitation of Black women, I just have an aversion for that straight up. And there's no other way to say that. And then thirdly, what I would say is that the damage that Umar has caused in terms of the trust that he's betrayed so many Black people, that when the next person comes along, like I was saying earlier, they're going to be less inclined to support. And to me, that's personal, because I know that people supported me and when I was really down and out in my time of need, my family. And I know that if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. He's fucking shit up for people later on down the line. I apologize. I'm telling you that's where we get into the personal aspect. I ain't really talked about it like that, but it's personal to me. He's betrayed so many people. And he has no shame. See? So those are the three primary reasons. There's other ancillary reasons too, but those are the three primary reasons. Okay? Thank you, Doctor, for the super chat. For FRMCF Music says he's 50 and still acts like a kid. Is embarrassing. Yeah, he's in a state of arrested development. This has been a super chat show. My goodness gracious, we ain't got to nothing today. That's okay. That's all right. Maybe I don't know. I guess we could do just a day where we just do super chats, but then people still gonna send them on other shows. All right. Anyway, Umar's in a state of arrested development. He doesn't live a life as an adult or as a man. He doesn't even take care of his kids. He's not even in his children's lives, and he doesn't see value in them whatsoever. Okay, he's in a state of arrested development. Unless children are brought out of this mindset, they will think that everything is about them and that everyone owes them and that no one else matters. Like a little baby or a toddler, they don't be giving a shit about nobody else. I'm hungry. You better feed me. You got that toy? I want that toy. Give it to me. I don't want you to give it to me. They don't care. Well, that's Umar. You remember in that video, he was saying, give me. If you can find a school, blah, 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 give me. If there's a school that's around $500,000, $400,000, we can work with that. Give me. What? You 51 years old, almost 51 years old, talking about give me. What else with these little, see, I don't raise kids. I know how it go. But you got to raise them out of that, right? To where they don't think the world revolves around them. Umar thinks the world revolves around. That's why he feels so entitled with the narcissism. He's in a state of arrested development. He was never raised out of that. I would say he's like, emotionally, he's like a 6 or 7 year old. I can't even say that, you know, because my kids wasn't acting like that at no 6 and 7 years old. Damn, I know there'd be some kids that be acting crazy, and you know, you see them in the store and stuff. You know, you're like, why? You know, they'd be 6 and 7. My kids, they wasn't acting like that. You know, when they were real young, yeah, they throw a little tantrum here, but I used to look at it, I was like, because they want you to go back at them, because they want you to give them that attention. You know, quick, you know, stop. No, I'll just be. And then they figured it out. Said, "Oh, Daddy, he ain't even responding to that, so ain't no point to that no more. I ain't gonna do that no more." See? But Umar, he's 50, about to be 51. He still be throwing tantrums. The SETI rant was a tantrum. The Zora rant was a tantrum. The Pajama Mama rant was a tantrum. Okay. More recently, the Lenon rant, that's another tantrum. Talking about fish tanks. And we were supposed to get to that video today. I don't know what we're gonna do. Thanks for the super chat. But he's in a state of arrested development. That's the point. What kind of man? Yeah, that's Umar. See, let me tell y'all one other thing on Umar when it comes to how he lives as a man. I don't see how he doesn't see this as just, why isn't he embarrassed? See, I'm embarrassed on how, you know, where I was at many years ago, where I was at in life. I'm embarrassed by that. I mean, I've made corrective efforts, yeah, and I'm proud of where I'm at today. I'm thankful. You guys have helped tremendously. I appreciate all that. I had to put in the work. But he don't even have embarrassment while he's involved in what he's doing. What kind of man? That's what I'm saying. Umar don't learn no lessons. He's like a toddler that don't want to learn nothing. I've been trying to teach this guy for such a long time. He don't want to change. He want to hold himself accountable. He blames us. You see the kid, they're like a little kid. I blame everybody else. He be making up fantastic stories and lying into that world. It's like, you know. He's in a state of arrested development. And the fact that he has no shame about it. See, real quick, if you're living in your mama closet and at the age of 50, about to be 51, it's Section 8 housing, you don't raise $1.6 million, you don't have your own vehicle, you ain't never been in a long-standing relationship, you ain't got no shame, and you keep begging for money, you ain't got no shame. That's crazy. Hey, buddy. That's crazy. See? But I think for Umar, because in the state of arrested development, he doesn't have that level of self-awareness to be able to say, hey, wait a minute, I got to get my stuff together. And this is not a good look. I've been there. It's not a good look. See? Yeah. Thanks, Veracity Exchange TV. Appreciate you. Kirby, how's it going? Kirby says, remember y'all, anybody remember that car called Kirby from way long time ago? It just popped in my mind. It was like a Beetle car, one of them Beetles, and it used to drive by itself. So yeah, how old I am. And it had a little number on it too. I can't remember what the number was. Was it 21 or 12? I don't know. Kirby says, I'm telling all y'all in the Quick Crush chat that Umar going to pay these outstanding bills on the second Tuesday of next week. Yeah, you're gonna have a hamburger too. Listen, Kirby, I think Umar's best move is to come up with the money to, and I shouldn't be saying this because then he's gonna do it, because he's gonna keep scamming. His best move is to come up with the money to pay this, because what's going to happen is that if he loses these buildings, I don't know, 90% of the people that used to donate, they're not going to donate to this guy ever again, because it's a waste. At that point, he would have wasted millions of dollars of Black people's money, and he ain't putting not one penny in. You see, that would be the best move for him to do on the second Tuesday of next week. Okay, yeah, yeah, and he needs to do it. He needs to do it by August 32nd. If he does it on August 32nd, he'd be good then. All right, thanks, Kirby. Constance, I'm almost to the bottom. Constance, excellent job researching. I don't understand why everyone don't see the evil man, this evil man's plan. Yeah, Umar, he's a master manipulator. I think that has a lot to do with it. He lies a lot. He has the gift of gab. I think Umar, he's so convincing. Even I shouldn't say it that way, but I think he's because he's so adamant when he lies, it's easier for him to convince people that he's telling the truth. And he does it so much, and it happens so easily with this guy. I think his followers are used to it. They're used to him lying to them, and then they believe it. The research shows that Umar is a con man. The research shows that Umar is a master manipulator. The research shows that Umar is sexually exploiting these Black women. The research shows that Umar, he's diabolical with what he's doing. He knows what he's doing too. It's calculated. The research shows that Umar, he was never interested in opening up a functional school. In fact, Umar already admitted that these schools, if they ever open, they're not going to be accredited. That's diabolical. Because that's not what he promised. He promised a boarding school for boys and girls. Yeah. So the research is all out there. You know, I just think that it's easier to believe in someone without doing your due diligence than to do your due diligence and see the person for who they really are. And if people did that due diligence with Umar, based upon the research, that's all I'm saying, research, and then, of course, critical thinking, logic, and reason, you would have to come to the conclusion that Umar, he's not about the business. He's a con man. Real talk. Listen, Umar don't even like black people. He talks down to black people all the time, especially black men. Most of what he says when he talks about black people is disparaging and disrespectful. Go listen to him. You can't say that. Furthermore, you can't say that Umar he has love for black people when he don't even love his own kids. What you talking about? Evidently, he don't have enough love for his mama to make sure she's been taken care of properly, and she ain't living in Section 8 housing after collecting $2.7 million, and ain't living in the hood, and can't even get upstairs, and can't even get up out the house, and can't even see her other family members. You all know that Umar Johnson's mama's mama tried to see Umar Johnson's mama before she passed away, and Umar wouldn't allow it. So Umar Johnson's grandmama passes away without being able to see her own daughter one last time. That goes to show you what type of person Umar is. He's diabolical. The research is out there, but people refuse. Some people, at least, they refuse to see it. Thankfully, more and more people are waking up. Right? Thank you, Constance. That's diabolical. User 225 says, I don't know if I feel like Umar Johnson's radical ideas, school to prison pipeline crisis that made him famous are at odds with being a legit therapist. Not possible, in my opinion. Umar was never a therapist. He's never been licensed as a therapist. He hasn't been trained as a therapist. A therapist is something different than a school psychologist. I've already done the research on that. So you have to have certifications to do therapy, and you got to get the license if you want to do it on your own as a therapist. Umar never had a license as a school psychologist either. But he tells people that he's a therapist, and he's a family therapist. He's a child therapist. I've heard him say all kinds of things that are simply not true. He's never worked to that capacity. And people who are in the field of mental health, they recognize it right away, because he conflates all these different things. He just titles that he appoints to himself, but he's not working to any degree as a therapist, a child therapist, a family therapist, a relationship therapist. I mean, he's throwing all kinds of stuff out there. Okay. But again, that's just Umar, what he does to misrepresent himself, because he's a master manipulator. And then he holds these degrees over black people's heads like, okay, I'm the almighty because I got 6 degrees. You got 6 degrees, but you living in your mama closet? You got 6 degrees, you've been homeless since 2000. Okay. Since 2019? Okay. Thanks, user 225. Mr. Controversy says, Lenon, how are you reading super chats with glasses on and still squinting? Come on, come on. Am I squinting? I don't know. I mean, I can read them like this, but it's just a little more, actually, it's a little, from this right here, it's a little more blurry. I need to lean forward like this. Let me take them off. I don't know. Now I need them on. Yeah, my eyesight, especially when I was in college the second time, boy, my eyesight was like, because I used to spend so much time at the computer typing and stuff. At least I got my eyes, though. I appreciate the spirit of appreciation. Thanks, Mr. Controversy. I'll try not to squint, but it is what it is, okay? Charles says, even Godfrey called him out today on his podcast. I haven't watched it. I will check it out because I like Godfrey. So the anti-protest video, we got to get to that at some point. Star Report. Star Report's funny too. He be cracking me up. And then Godfrey's podcast. Yeah, I'll sure when I have some time, I'll check that out. I may even do it. No, because tomorrow I gotta go through Umar's dissertation. Yeah, well, it is what it is. I'll get to it at some point. Thanks, Charles, for letting me know. Yeah, shout out to Godfrey. He's funny. He's one of the best out there. And when it comes to impersonations, can't nobody touch that dude. He's incredible. Tippity tappity, Sean will stick 3 times. Here we go. Here's that dashiki. Thank you so much, Tippity tappity. Veracity says, no, I got this. I mean, just a clown move. You know, and then when the phone rings, you can see Umar's like thinking about it like, oh shit, what am I going to do next? And he just keeps going. He just talks about something else like it didn't even happen. I mean, you got to be really out there to just keep going. That's like when he flipped the phone. He's like, you just keep going. Yeah, you know, I'm in the process of moving. For the other video, he says, oh, you know, I got to fold some clothes. I said, what you talking about? You got to fold some clothes. And there's a pile of clothes, dirty clothes all over the place. All kind of other shit in there. Plus, there's a bag of potatoes. Why you got a bag of potatoes in there, Umar? Talking about I got to fold some clothes. The bag of potatoes shouldn't be up there anyway. It's on the 2nd floor. What you got a bag of potatoes up on the 2nd floor for? Anyway, probably, and let me stop. Yeah. Anyway, it just goes to show you Umar where he's at. Okay. He's I got this. Just living in fantasy land. Trying to be a fake thug. Thank you for that, Veracity Exchange TV. Yvette became a member. Thank you so much, Yvette. I appreciate it. I got a member video dropping either tomorrow, more likely on Friday, because I have a special guest tomorrow. I'll set that show up after this live stream. In fact, let me remind myself. Set up. I'm off tomorrow, so if I have time, but every time I say that, I don't end up doing anything because I got other stuff I got to get done. Running the store and stuff. I'll set up tomorrow's show. I got to put that on my list too. Thanks, Yvette, for becoming a member. Gabe XYZ official says, what's the video where he's like no Jen today? Yeah, I have that video queued up right here. This is the video where he's talking about fish. Lene has a fish tank, just talking real reckless. I wanted to get it today to build it up and show you guys how Umar, he pre-scripted this. You know, all this is pre-scripted leading up to where he's at today with the potential of him losing these properties. Okay, he set this up because he knew that this was going to be exposed and that people were going to find out, because it's already public record on that one website. I showed that, but at some point the PDF version is going to be available to people. When that happens, I mean, everyone's going to have it. They're going to be reporting on it. Okay, but I have that video queued up. If we have time, we'll get to it. But we're already almost 3 hours in. Thank you all. We still got 4,400 people here. Again, I apologize. We didn't get to the video. Okay, but next time we could get together, we'll set it up to where I'll do a certain amount of super chats, and we'll get to the video, and then I'll do the rest at the end of the live stream. Okay. Thank you for the super chat, Gabe. I appreciate it. Moon's Music says, bro, that phone call was here. Yeah, it was hilarious. People still talk about it to this day. Yeah, to this day, people talk about it. It just goes to show you how insane Umar is. Thank you for the super chat. Jeff says, the fact that he actually bought buildings does show a small attempt to start a school, right? Real scammers have nothing to show after they collect money. I think on the surface level, it may appear to be that way, but I've explained it this way. That for Umar, if he takes $400,000, he said a little more than that, but it could actually be a lot less than that. He never provided receipts. I mean, he could have got these buildings for $100,000. We don't know. Okay, we don't know for sure, but I give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm extending the courtesy, which I tend to do with Umar. Very lenient, very gracious. Let's say it was $400,000. Jeff, if you can take $400,000 after you've collected well over $1 million, and you take $400,000 to purchase these abandoned buildings in February of 2019. And then over the next 5 years, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, yeah, over the next 5 years, you collect $1.67 million. Would you do it? See? Now, we're taking it out of the scope of being a con man. I'm just saying, just in general, would you do that? And everything was on the up and up. You're not scamming people. You're not trying to, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying you take 400,000, maybe 425,000. And then what happens is you're able to secure over the next 5 years, $1.67 million. Would you do it? And the answer is yes. See, and then a person may say, yeah, well, you come up, basically you'd be able to come up on $1.2 million. Hold on. Umar, we're not counting all the other money that Umar raised in 2014, 15, 16, 17, or 18. Would you do it? See, so that's what I'm saying on the surface level, because I've heard people say that, well, he did buy the building, so he's serious. No, he bought the building so that he can extend the scam. Furthermore, GoFundMe, they were issuing refunds. So he had to do something, and this is what he did. And it worked out in his favor because, in essence, he's able to extend the scam for another 6.5 years. And then look where we're at today, because again, he can't do this forever, right? So that's what I mean when we talk about people who are con men or con women, for that matter, but con artists who are master manipulators. Yeah, they will calculate. They say, okay, well, I can do this at this point so that I can extend this for another 6.5, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And that's precisely what Umar did. One other thing too, Jeff. He may have bought these buildings for a lot less than that. Do I need to tell you guys something real quick? Hold on one second. And I'm gonna be careful how I say. Do I have it right here? I thought I had it. Let me just look right here. Let me check my desktop, because I can give you the exact name of this. Yeah, I don't know where I put it. Yeah, let me try one thing right quick. Yeah, it's not coming up this time, but I had it because I screenshot it. I just don't know where I put it, but I'll leave it right there. Okay. At some point, if I know I can find it, but I'm for time's sake, I'm gonna leave it right there. The point is that he could have gotten these for much less than what he said he got them for. Okay. Thanks, Jeff, for the super chat. This in the doorbell video at his mom's. Yeah, that woke a lot of people up, right? Thanks, Jam Jack. Yeah, we covered that extensively. Matthew says, it's funny to me that Umar never names the bank, almost like if he did, they could easily debunk his claims. Yeah, but the other thing too is that if he did that, just like with him naming the city and the state of Delaware, that they're discriminating against him. Like if you're going to say that, listen, the city and the state, they got lawyers, and they know that that's not true. So he could be held liable for saying things like that. Well, the same thing with this allegedly the bank that's froze his accounts, or that they're going to issue a refund, whatever he says. He's all over the place with that. Don't even make sense. He contradicts himself. So no, he's not going to name a bank, because if he names a bank, then the banks get hold of it. Because I'm sure that if he's, let's say if he said Wells Fargo, okay, well someone could just contact Wells Fargo. There's a guy online that says you guys are scamming him and that he's going to sue you because of this. No, well, he didn't say discrimination for his bank. See, he doesn't really give an explanation for the bank situation, like why it is that they haven't sent him a check. And the story don't even make any sense. But if he says Wells Fargo, then someone sent Wells Fargo that video, I'm sure that they would escalate that to their legal department. Okay, not that anything would come out of it, but they would have a duty to at least report that, right? And Umar, he doesn't want that to happen, because, again, like I was saying, I think it was yesterday, that could be a domino that falls, that hits the next one, that hits the next one, next. Now Umar's brought up on some charges, not based upon him saying Wells Fargo, but because he's been investigated for what he's been doing with this school scam, okay? Which he may be being investigated for right now anyway. Thanks, Matthew. Good point. This is Common Sense says he could have invested $500,000 in the S&P 500 10 years ago and had more than enough by now. Absolutely. There's a lot of things that Umar could have done. See, but he was spending the money on himself anyway. He was living off of that money. But if he had taken, see, he was already at $500,000 in 2016. By the time we get to 2017, he says that he's at $1 million. In fact, he said by the summer of 2016 that he would be at $1 million. He also said we need another $1 million in 2016. So let's say if he waited and he just, because it's not like he was going to open up a school back then. He hadn't found a school. If he had taken that $1 million and invested in the S&P 500 and then kept collecting money and kept putting it in. And again, that's not what he should have done anyway, because that's not what the intent was. The intent was, he didn't say anything about how he was going to invest it as a nonprofit. I don't even know if that's legal. Okay. But the point is that there are things that he could have done with the money so that it could have grown over time. See, Pocket Watch with JT, one of the things he pointed out years ago was that Umar has this money at that time was over $500,000 sitting in a non-interest bearing account. Why would you put it in a non-interest bearing account? Why not put that $500,000 into an interest-bearing account and just let it sit? And then all the other money that you collect, instead of spending on yourself to travel and eat good and getting rent hotels and motels because you was homeless, etc. The list goes on and on and on. Just keep stacking those chips, and just let the interest just grow. who knows where he would be at today. But again, like I said, it wasn't about opening up a school. It wasn't about fiduciary duty. It wasn't about him being a proper steward of the money. It was not about him using the money for what he claimed that he was going to use the money for. What it was ultimately, what it came down to was that it was a money grab. And that's still the case to this day. That's like right now, he may lose these properties. That's more than enough for people to realize that he's a con man. There's other stuff that he could have done, Tim, and he could have taken $20,000 and invested in, set up a website, FDMG Academy, and made it a subscription-based website, get content uploaded. Blah. People would have done that for free, send him free content, blah, blah, blah. I already explained this, and he would have been a multimillionaire by now. And then he could use that money to actually fund this project of opening up a brick and mortar school. Okay, but he didn't do that because he's a con man. Thanks. This is Common Sense. YouTube5 said, Lenon, imagine in the end, Umar Johnson gets a Mormon snow bunny. Boy, that would be wild. I do believe that Umar, that if he could have one, he would go for it. Okay, I do believe that. Thanks, YouTube5. JD says Jermaine better flee to Zamunda. yeah. That's about the only place or Wakanda, one of the two. Thanks, JD. Good trend form of the a.k.a. Here we go. Cookie Crush chat should chip in to buy the bundles and start the Cookie Crush Academy of Abdullah Shakes and Marcus Garvey burgers. Yeah, and then we'll make sure that we put like Umar suggested, an observatory on the roof. Okay, that way we can get into the sci-fi stuff and go on. We open up a black vegan sports bar, non-alcoholic with 3 levels. First level is where you can play. I don't know. That's good twin from Nick. I ain't seen this in a long time. That's a picture of the good twin that was side-eye and Umar back in the day. That was a great interview. Thank you so much. I wish I could interview them. That would be awesome to have them on. Thank you for the super chat. Everyone else too. Everyone that I've covered so far, thank you for the super chat. I'm almost at the bottom. The little gaming channel says, remember Umar thought he's seen a piece of crack rock on these steps and moved it with his finger. Yeah. That's in the video that I have for members. But then there's also a version that I'm going to edit it down into segments for everyone here on YouTube in the near future. That was an eye-opening moment for us as a Cookie Crush chat. We didn't know what was going on at the time when we first reviewed that video. That was years ago. But upon further review, as they say, it became very apparent what exactly took place there. And that just goes to show you that, yeah, Umar, he has a substance abuse issue. It's a lot more serious than I think people would kind of want to believe, because most people think, or at least his followers, they think that he's a school psychologist and a therapist and all these things that he says that he is. He's not a school psychologist. He hasn't been a school psychologist since 2010, 2011, based upon my research. What I believe is that 2014 picture of him in an office, I don't think he was a school psychologist at that time. I think that was the time where he was a school principal. I haven't been able to verify it, and that it was just for a matter of months, a few months, and that was it. But in terms of Umar being a school psychologist, he's been out of that field for over a decade now, close to 15 years now. But he still tells people that, right? So if you have someone who's saying the most requested scholar, they're a school psychologist, a therapist, a family therapist, a child therapist, and all these other things that he says that he is, it's going to be less likely for people to see the truth that he has a substance abuse issue, and a serious one at that. That's where a lot of this money has gone. And then that post-nasal drip, right? And then when he be fiending for stuff, and then when he's high. In the video, I have examples of that too. I've talked about that. Yeah. But that right there, that woke a lot of people up. I remember that to this day, because we couldn't figure it out. Then when we figured it out, we were like, what? Right? Thanks, Little Gaming Channel, for super chat. Triple X says, ultimately, will Umar do jail time behind this? I don't think that Umar would do jail time for the scamming of black people. I don't think that's what would happen. In my opinion, I mean, it could, but I don't think that would be the case. I think that it would be tied to that at least. And what I mean by that is that if the IRS actually audited Umar based upon his IRS filings and looked into how much money he has actually raised, they will see very quickly that there are some serious discrepancies. If they audit his bank accounts, if they audit his Cash App in particular, if they audit his GoFundMe, his PayPal, okay, and then now his Apple Pay and whatever else he's using these days. And then they also look into checks and money orders, right? Because there's a digital trail for all that stuff once it's actually deposited. They will find out very quickly that he's raised way more than what he's reporting to the IRS. Okay, now we're talking about tax evasion and we're talking about fraud. I would also speculate that if they looked into his previous EIN number, where he was collecting money. And during that time, Umar, we have him on record saying that he had collected over $1 million way back then. They would have to look and see an audit to see, okay, well, was he reporting all of that money? And the truth is they'll find out very quickly that he didn't. That's why they revoked his nonprofit status. Okay, that's fraud and that's tax evasion too. That's what I think Umar would get hemmed up on. Okay. All right, thanks, Triple X, for a super chat. JD says, where's my gula Africans at? Yeah, he throw anything out there. Madagascar. One time he said German. I said, okay, all right. Yeah, there's Africans in German. Thanks, JD. I ain't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing all right. Just Art and Paint says, thank you forever your dedication and time. Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for the super chat. And then thank you for your dedication. Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay. It's a little bit of typo, but don't worry about it. You ain't got to send another super chat. I'll figure it out. Okay. Thank you again. If Africans think you a now we shouldn't do that because there is that stereotype, you know, and we shouldn't do that, you know, especially people from Nigeria. I get it, but we shouldn't do that. They're just like the scammers from India, you know, they be calling you. Can I get you to get onto your computer? We got a virus. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I have a degree in cybersecurity. What are you talking about? Hey, click. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, yeah, there's scammers everywhere. It's you know. All right, thanks, little gaming channel. I just don't want to. All right. Thank you for the super chat. The one true Whitney says, where are the building permits for the school? There are no permits. One thing too, y'all, if y'all think about this, if he's doing these renovations, even though he said they were done in 2023, but then in 2025, more recently, he said that he's still renovating. Okay. There should be posted on the doors the permits, right? Hit the one. We're almost done. We're not even. We better get to the videos. Okay, we're almost done. I'm just get to the super chats and I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do my best to live stream tomorrow. Okay, and we'll just get straight into the videos that I want to get into today because it has set up what I was talking about in terms of Umar. He telegraphed all of this to get to where we're at here today with these abandoned buildings potentially being taken away from him in a matter of 12 days. At least the process would start if he don't come up with this money. Have we ever seen, Cookie Crush Chat, in all the years of covering Umar, have we ever seen permits posted on these buildings for the work that was being done? I've never seen it. Is it possible that they were, and when they were, Umar didn't live stream to show it? That's possible, but it's highly unlikely. The point is that if all of this renovation work has been done by professionals at least one time or two or three times while he's live streaming up there, standing outside, yelling into his phone, etc., where he's using the school as a backdrop, and you see that door right there, at least one time for the small building, we should have seen, or two or three or four or five times, we should have seen those permits posted. But I've never seen it. So the point is that a lot of the quote unquote renovation work that Umar is alleging that has been done has not been done properly by professionals. And that's another reason why these buildings are never going to pass inspection so that he can even apply for a certificate of occupancy. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. Sugar Chris says, protest, just sit on the roof and refuse to come down. Umar, yeah. Umar does not plan on having a protest. That's just a way to get his followers riled up so that they can send him some money to support him. Furthermore, even if he did do one, let's say he did do one, if we give him benefit of the doubt. For what? What is he going to protest? He didn't pay the bills. You can't say it's racism if you didn't pay the bills. Now, you could say it's racism if you paid the bills and then somehow they were like, no. You know what I'm saying? Said, no, you paid these bills, but no, you still owe us some money because you're black. And now you can say it's racism, right? But you can't claim racism simply because you didn't pay the bills like you were supposed to, black man. This is so ridiculous. Thank you, Sugar Chris. So he just threw that out there, but he has a history of throwing things out there because he wants people to see him as two things. He wants to see people to see him as someone who's being persecuted, but then also as a sort of living martyr You know, they persecuted me. They're trying to sabotage, et cetera, et cetera. He runs this over and over again. And he does have followers. They eat that up. See, but he's trained them that way. See? But this is all Umar's fault. Ain't got nothing to do with racism. Thanks, Sugar Chris, for the super chat. I feel weird saying Sugar Chris with the lips on there with the purple. You know what I'm saying? I said, wait, what am I saying? Sugar Chris. I better watch my mouth. Thank you. Side the Olympian says, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Yeah, I've heard that before. And you know what people were saying with Umar when he's talking about his the bank accounts were frozen, all this stuff, and the emails, he sent emails to try to get this resolved, and they didn't respond back. People were saying, well, show me the receipt. Show us the emails. See? Again, believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. Okay? Now, like I said before, I operate with integrity. If I'm speculating, I say I'm speculating, or I'll say I believe. You guys can. I'm very careful with that. Because I want to be fair. I've always been fair with Umar. Now I've been mad at him and I gone off on him. I get it. Okay, emotions get the best of all of us at some point, right? But I'm not gonna lie to this on this guy, and I'm always going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But one thing I have learned is never believe anything that Umar says. Do the research to get to the truth. Get the receipt that proves one thing to be true. Don't go based upon what Umar says, because he's a pathological liar. He lies more than he tells the truth. I already know that to be a fact. I can tell you so many times he lied about stuff. And then I'm thinking about, okay, when did he tell the truth? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. See? And sometimes he'll tell a little bit of the truth mixed in with a whole bunch of lies. So it's like, okay, whatever. But he tells the truth to get you hooked in. Right? Then he'd be lying to y'all, you Umar Johnson fathers, get them money, get them draws. What kind of man? Why you got to do that, Umar? Why don't you just go and get a regular old job? I mean, you can do it. You can do. I mean, listen, Walmart hiring, UPS, USPS. You need to be a bus driver. Umar be a great bus driver. Them kids, they be teasing him and sending him stuff. Aren't you that guy that was on YouTube and you collected millions of dollars, you live in your mama's closet based upon what LenonHonor said? Anyway, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Okay. Thank you, Sai. I've heard that before too. Kitwana says, at what point did he decide he wasn't going to work anymore? Two cohorts of children could have graduated if started a 5-room school. What a shame. Yeah, if he had done that, but he was never serious. And I can tell you, Kitwana, I know when, because I have the video where he explains this. Umar is on record in videos saying that it was in 2010 where he had to make a decision. Okay, and I can pull it up because I have it in my notes, but he had to make a decision between his career as a school psychologist and his efforts to educate the people. I think that's the term that he used. Okay, this is when he starts to make inroads into the Black conscious space. So that's why by the 2011, he's in hidden colors, but didn't nobody really know about Umar. Okay, he didn't really start blowing up until after 2013. Okay, but the way you let him tell it, he made hidden colors. Okay, I'm saying this now because I got a member video for you guys. You guys are gonna trip on this one. So Umar makes a decision based upon his own words in 2010 that he's going to focus on teaching the people. And that's when he starts getting into the Black conscious space and doing lectures and stuff. Sometimes he wasn't actually the lecturer. He would actually go and vend and sell CDs and DVDs. He didn't have a book back then, but that's what he was doing. He would vend. See? That's when Umar makes this shift from being a school psychologist and becoming this basically a touring preacher within the Black conscious space. And he's done that consistently since that time. Like I said, there is some evidence that he worked for a little while, for a couple of months in 2014. I've been able to verify that, but I'm going to give Umar the benefit of the doubt. But it's not that he was working consistently. It's just a job that he took for a very short period of time. And I don't believe it was as a school psychologist side. I think that's when he was working, because I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, as a principal or a vice principal. Some people even said as a counselor, like a school counselor. Anyway, that's when he made that decision. And what we find, and what the research shows, I should say, is that from 2011 to present, Umar has not worked professionally consistently at all. In fact, most of his time has been spent traveling the world in the Black conscious circles, with his message. Initially, his message was more about the school to prison pipeline. It was about special education. It was about misdiagnoses and Ritalin, what he called crack and all this kind of stuff. I have all these videos. I've done taking copious notes on this. This is early Umar. But over the years, it's evolved. We're in today. He don't really talk about that stuff. What he's really talking about these days is it's like celebrity gossip and snow bunny crisis. Thanks, Kitwana, for the super chat. Brother O says, Lenon, who are 3 public leaders or activists you like or respect? Also, if you interviewed Umar, what would be 3 specific top questions you would ask him? Okay, so 3 public leaders or activists. Well, one, and I don't even know if we want to call, I wouldn't say a public, I would say an activist. One of the people would be Mukasa Africa. I communicate with him quite often these days, especially with everything that's been going on with Umar. He's inspirational. He's very inspirational to me. Another person, I look at Information Man as an activist. I know he does YouTube videos, but if you guys listen to him carefully, I look at him as an activist. And I'm not just specifically talking about his critique of Umar. I'm just talking about in general, his general message. And he's someone that I respect. In terms of, let me think of a public leader though. I really can't think, because I'm at an age where I just don't look at it. I don't look at people that way. There was a time, I'll just have to say it. There was a time where I looked at what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Umar's called him out. He did a book long time ago. I read this book long time ago. Race Matters or something like that. What's his name? Dr. Let me see. Now all these other people are flooding into mind from my earlier days when I was a lot younger. Cornel West. I used to look at him as a public leader. But now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm not talking about these days because I'm just older. You know, when you reach a certain age, you just don't look for leadership. You know, in particular for me, I'm trying to lead my family the best way that I can. You know, as you get older, that's just the evolution of things. And I am getting older. But there was a time where I looked at people like Dr. Valentine, Phil Valentine. People like this guy. Boy, I tell you, my memory what it used to be. I can see Taj Tariq Bey, because that's when I was really studying like within the Black conscious space. But those days are long gone. Those days are long gone. There was someone too. I just came to mind, Steve Coakley. Right. Again, these aren't people who are necessarily public leaders in modern times, if you want to call it that. But again, like I said, it's just where I'm at in my life. I don't look for public leaders, black, white, or otherwise. Okay. Thank you, Brother O, for super. And then the other thing, real quick, what would be the 3 top questions I would ask Umar? Number 1, how much money have you raised? I would ask that question. Number 2, how much money have you spent? I would ask that question. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other ones for number 3. What would I choose? Can I give you 2 more? One would be, when was the last time you worked consistently? Okay. And then the other one would be, when and where did you work as a school principal and for how long? You know, now something else came into mind. You know, Umar, you said that you're a family therapist. When and where? Umar, where's your office? When and where were you a therapist? Have you ever been licensed as a therapist? Have you ever been certified as a therapist? Do you hold any current certifications as a school psychologist or as a psychologist? When was the last time you had your own residence, Umar? Why did you get evicted at the end of 2019? Where did all the money go? Do you have a substance abuse issue? How can you sexually exploit all these black women all around the world and call yourself a black leader? Why do you always criticize black men and tell black men that they have to do things that you're unwilling to do yourself? Why would you tell black men that we should take care of single mothers when you are baby mama creator? You done created single mothers. So we got to clean up your mess. When you threatened me with physical violence and doxed my personal information, what were you thinking? Why are you still calling me gay, homeboy? When you the one that got these thumb issues, Thumbelina. Don't get me going. See there, see there. But once I get going, but specific top three, I would say those three. But it's hard. That third one is difficult because I come up with all kinds of them. All right, thanks, brother O for super. You know, Umar, when you were scamming the UNIA back in 2005. All right. Thanks, brother O. T says he's a textbook narcissist and sociopath. I totally agree. He exploited Black trauma to become a prominent public figure and make money. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who've done that. Jay Morrison is another example. He exploited the trauma of Black Wall Street. Remember, he was saying how we're gonna buy back the block. He didn't do that. We're gonna rebuild Black Wall Street. He didn't do none of that. Well, Umar, he said he was gonna do a Black Wall Street too. He didn't do none of that either. That's why if you go on Umar's Instagram page, you'll see he be posting like old shit of trauma, Black people trauma. Stuff that a lot of us weren't even born back there, but he'll post it anyway, you know, like lynchings and stuff. I don't want to see that shit. Yeah, did it happen? Yeah, but you ain't got to put these graphics with that. That's just trapping into Black people's trauma. Then you got to tie it to him and what he's doing because he's Big Papa and it's all about him. See? There has to be a word for an individual that exploits another individual or a group of people's trauma that way. There has to be a word for that. Okay. Again, yeah, narcissistic and sociopathic, but there has to be a specific term for that because that's what Umar has done. And he continues to do, but he's not the only one. Jay Morrison did it. Polite did it too. Even a Nature Boy who's in prison for life, he used to do that too. Okay? But Umar, he's especially crafty because he's gotten away with it for such a long time. Yeah, even the school to prison pipeline, and I think it's diabolical to manipulate Black single mothers who's worried about their sons, you know, getting into the prison industrial complex, you know, and then Umar, he frames it like I'm going to save them from that. Matter of fact, this whole idea of opening a school is to save them from that. See, that's diabolical. There has to be a term for that. Thanks, T. McLove. I just remember I got to go through Umar's dissertation. I don't even know how I'm going to find the time. I'll figure it out. The Little Gaming Channel says it was always a sham. I agree. He never had any intention on opening a school. He knew the buildings were garbage and sat on a toxic dump. No credit for the attempt. He accepted no help from anyone. A one-man scam. And I also think, and I didn't mention this earlier, but you're right. The fact that he has not accepted any help, more specifically any professional help, because if you do it when you deal with professionals, it's going to be accountability. Also, the money has to be right too. Okay, you can't be saying I'm gonna pay you next Wednesday and all this kind of stuff, or I'll get you next month, or let me just put this on down for now if you can get the work done. You can't do that with true professionals. So the receipts show, and my research shows that Umar has a history of not accepting proper help, but he does that because he does not want to have transparency. See, if he accepted professional help, that actually gets him closer to completion. But Umar, he doesn't want to complete because once he completes the renovations, he has to get to operations. And then now we're talking about millions of dollars per year that he's going to have to, it's not even financially viable. None of this is financially viable, right? So if he gets to that point and then he starts asking for money so that he can pay faculty and staff. So then people are like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And how much money you need to operate the school per year? It's $4 million a year. I believe the Moyer Academy for both sides of the streets, I believe it was close to $4 million. Okay. So if we cut that in half, it'd be about $2 million, but then we have to adjust for inflation. I don't even know what that would be. A decade later? You guys see what I'm saying? You guys take 2015, let's say 2 million, adjust for inflation. How much would that be? And then all the stuff Umar said he's going to do, that's going to be a whole lot more money. Teach the boys how to fly helicopters and how to float ships and a dirt bike team and all this others. Teach them how to be Black Rambos and take them on trips to Africa. But if he accepts proper professional help, it gets him closer to that point where he has to show and prove. That's not what Umar wants. He wants hangups. He wants distractions. He wants this situation to take place. I know it sounds weird, but see, now he has an out. He can say, oh, well, the city, they done taken the properties. That's why we didn't open up. And he can keep asking for money indefinitely. We're going to see how this plays itself out. One day at a time. Thank you to Little Gaming Channel for the super chat. Andrea says, let's see, we're going to have a farm. He said he's going to have an FDMG farm. He said he's going to have an FDMG cemetery. Who's paying for that's macabre. Who's paying for all that? He said that you black women, that part of your job, you're going to help him to go to these grave sites of different people like Frederick Douglass and exhume the body so that you can take them back to FDMG and bury them there. What kind of thriller, Michael Jackson thriller? What are you talking about, Umar? Who comes up with that? That's called grave robbing. But even still, you gonna go? What are you talking about? Just black people that he thinks are important. He gonna just go and arbitrarily dig up their bodies and then put them in the ground over here at FDMG at the FDMG. That's nuts. Anyway, he said black pigs as well. Yeah, black pigs, black pigs. That's what he said. Who's paying for all that? It's expensive to run a farm, Umar. Plus, you're gonna have black pigs. It's expensive, especially in black pigs. They're expensive. Let me stop. You know them black pigs. You know what I'm saying? Now I sound like Umar. Them black people, them black pigs, they lazy. You know, they trifling. All right, all right. Thanks. Shout out to the black pig. Little Gaming Channel says, for you, sir, thank you for keeping your foot on his neck and exposing him. I have been here from the, I didn't know you were here from the beginning. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Very gracious on your part. There's been quite a few people. I didn't know how long they've been around, you know. So thank you so much for sticking with me. So if you've been around from the beginning, you know that there's been a lot of ups and downs with this Umar Johnson saga. That's what I call it. I call it the Umar Johnson saga because it's always something. And for those of you guys who have been around a long time, you know that to be true. I've done my best to stay. Of course, there's times where I've taken breaks and then extended breaks too. You know, I can tell you, there's one time I took an extended break, but I had to because I had so much other stuff going on in my personal life. I haven't talked about it because, you know, in the past where I've shared personal stuff, people they've twisted it and turned it into something totally different, and it's just you know, I don't want to have to deal with that. You know, so that's why I've been more private, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say. But what I want to get to is I've tried my best to be consistent, and I think it's a huge it's been a huge effort, but I also think that at least now we see the results. You know, the results. There are so many people right now who are exposing Umar, and you know, they've seen some of my videos, they've seen some of KKC's videos, Pocket Watcher with JT, Eli with What Happened to Common Sense, Information Man. You know, there's plenty of people that they put their best foot forward to expose Umar for who he truly is. And I'm just grateful that I've been able to do this. You know, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for the super chat. You've been so gracious. I do appreciate it. But I did not know that you've been around from the beginning. There's probably a lot of y'all that's been around for a long time. If you've been around for like a really long time, hit the 1. Okay, because that's a lot of newer people. That's why the numbers are where they're at, and I have a lot of new subscribers. But some of you guys have been around for a very long time. Thank you guys so much. Okay, everyone. All right. Thanks to our Little Gaming Channel. Gina became a new member. All right, thank you so much, Gina. I appreciate it. And the Little Gaming Channel also says, my daughter finished high school, graduated from college, started working, and had a kid since this school sham started. Just think about that. Yeah. I've seen people say things like, when Umar started this school scam, I was in high school. I went off to college, got a bachelor's, I got a master's, and I'm working on my PhD. And I have 3 kids and a wife. That's what I'm saying. I don't see how people could think that somehow Umar's serious. I mean, it's been such a long time. It's not just when Umar claims that he started raising money in 2014. I know for a fact that he was raising money long before that. It's just he wasn't doing it outwardly online because he didn't really come into the internet space, consistently. Because if you guys go back and look at Umar's Facebook page, because that's what he was using way back then. You look at his Facebook page, 2010, not much activity going on. Okay? Not much activity at all. 2011, not much. Okay, then you start to see him in Living Colors. You see it kind of progresses and Living Colors too. It progresses and progresses. So what's on to where now he's a social media influencer. But we're talking over a decade in order him to get to this point. But if we go back to when Umar first started talking about these abandoned buildings, or excuse me, FDMG, again, the post that I show is from January of 2010. He was talking about it prior to that, obviously. That's just when he posted on social media. He conceptualized this in 2004. So it's been over 20 years. So if we really think about this, what Umar has done by extending the scam for this length of time, there are most of the people who initially donated thinking that their sons or their daughters were going to go to Umar Johnson School. Most of those people, their children are grown adults now. Some of these children are in their late 20s, early 30s. So how can we say that Umar was ever serious about this? Let me give you one other thing. When I first learned of Umar pursuing the St. Paul's College, which he never even put in the bid, even though he said he did. Shout out to Black Anonymous. That's another one of OGs. If I think about where I was at back then, struggling big time. In retrospect, embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. But Umar's been at this scam for such a long time. From that time to present, I can see progressions. I can see me falling down again, getting back up, falling down again, getting back up. But just over the course of the last 6 years, I would say, maybe 7 years, that's a long, I made significant strides in my life. See? So that's how I look at this, that if Umar was serious, he would have had something happening by now, but he still doesn't have anything happening. Furthermore, it's all worse, in my opinion, because not only does he have nothing going on after all these years, 2 decades since he conceptualized this, millions of dollars raised, he's facing the potential of these abandoned buildings being taken from him and sold at auction at a sheriff's sale. And if that happens, all of the money that has been donated to Umar was wasted. So we have the issue of money, but we also have the issue of time. And time is money. Time is also life. Therefore, life is money through production. Just think about, any of you guys, think about where you were at in 2010. Think about where you were at in 2014 when he started raising money for the St. Paul's College. Think of where you were at in February of 2019 when he makes a school announcement video where he says, I've acquired these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. And think about all of the changes that have taken place in your life up to now. And Umar has nothing to show for it. Not one black boy has been educated. That's a shame. And you know what's even crazier? He don't even care. He has no shame. See, I know what shame feels like. I know what guilt feels like because I wasn't handling business. See, I'll take that to the grave. But I know one thing, I made changes over time. At least I can say that Umar, he done given me some time to make some changes. Okay. Thank you, Little Gaming Channel. Speaking of change, Umar need to look at himself in the mirror. Look at the man in the mirror, make that change. Anyway, thanks for super chat. I think this is the last one. Thank you, guys. This has been a super chat show. Verdant Visionary, I like that name, says a freedom of information request for any records regarding the city's attempts to contact FDMG might reveal a lot. Yeah, there may be a public record for that though too. Those should be public. Yeah, okay, those should be public records. Yeah. I'm wondering though too, Verdant Visionary, as we close out. I'm gonna do my best to come back tomorrow during the day and live stream to get to these videos. Most of you guys probably gonna be at work, so y'all probably won't get, but that's okay. Because again, I will have a special guest. We're gonna go over Umar's dissertation. I'm wondering, Verdant Visionary, whether or not through the Freedom of Information request that paperwork can be filed so that Umar Johnson's nonprofit information, specifically dealing with how much money he has raised up to this date. And I'm not just talking about from 2020 to 2024, where we have actual IRS filings for his nonprofit status. I'm talking about from 2014 to 2020. If somehow that information can become public record through the Freedom of Information request, because these are nonprofits. I don't know whether or not that's the process. I'm just throwing that out there as something I thought about based upon what you're saying here. I will say this, that if Umar is ever brought up on charges, whether that be for the school scam or if it's with the IRS and his filings with the IRS for tax evasion, whether it is his first EIN number or his second EIN number or both, or if it is for fraud, dealing with tax fraud through this nonprofit. If that ever took place, if you're brought up on charges, everything would come out in discovery. And when that happens, everything that I've been saying about Umar, especially when it comes specifically, I should say it this way, specifically dealing with the financial aspect of this FDMG school scam, all of it, everything that I've said will be proven to be true. Again, I give Umar a lowball figure of $2.7 million raised since 2014. It could be much higher than that. Could it be $3 million? Yeah. I say 2.6, 2.7. Could it be 3 million? Yeah. Could it be 3.5? Yeah. 4 million? No, I don't think so. See that? See, but my best estimate, based upon my research, IRS filings from 2020 to 2020 through 2024, is that Umar has raised, and then going back to 2014 from the St. Paul's College, based upon video evidence where he's saying, telling people, giving updates back then, I would say bare minimum $2.6, $2.7 million. Unfortunately, right now, that is not part of the public record, but hopefully someday it will be. Okay? Thanks for that, visionary. Love the name too. Thanks for the super chat. Let's see. Alcione says, critics of your channel will comment on the length of your videos, but you spend the majority of each video in gratitude to your community and been blessed by that frequently. Umar cursed his and himself. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. You know, and I have made efforts to upload shorter videos and people can watch those. But I think some people, maybe they're not quite clicked in to the community. A lot of us, we're here because of the community aspect, and people be going in and talking inside the chat room and goofing off, and we enjoy that too. But I have been making efforts to upload videos, shorter videos, and it actually has made a difference with subscriberships and ad placements and all that stuff. I'll continue to do my best to accommodate people. It's just that when you deal with Umar, time has to be taken, you know, and it can't be done willy-nilly, and it can't be done lazily. Like, you really have to put your best foot forward, do the research, get the timeline together, make sure you have things archived properly so that you can pull things up. You know, I have documents in terms of extensive documents where I've taken copious amounts of notes dealing with different Umar Johnson videos. And it has to be presented that way, you know, real quick. And I'm not saying this to people who don't have the time, but people who complain that my live streams are too long. What I'd like for you to do is to do videos on Umar and do short videos and see whether or not you get the type of response that I get. Because, see, it's not necessarily about the time. It's not simply about the time. It's about the quality of the information that you present. And I pride myself on that. It's about the quality of the information that I present. Whether I upload a video that's 10 minutes long or an hour long, which I'm going to do for members, probably Friday. It'll probably be Friday. Or if I do a live stream for 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours. Okay. Either way, it's documented here, and people 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they can reflect back on this, and maybe they can get some information that can put them in a better position to keep themselves safe from future con artists, or keep their family members safe from future con artists. That's not about how long or the length of a video or a live stream, etc. Okay, that's about the truth, right? And that's how we do. All right, thank you, Alcione, for those kind words. You guys have been very gracious. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Okay, all of y'all. A couple more super chats. The super chat show today. The Little Gaming Channel says Umar might save the schools from being sold because gullible people still believe in him. But what are they going to do? Say what they're doing is delaying the inevitable. Yeah. I think I talked about this yesterday. Let's say hypothetically that Umar, he saves these buildings. It's sad that I even have to say it that way. That he gets the money to pay this off, to pay the fees so that he can keep possession of these abandoned buildings. Okay, well then what happens next? So I'm saying it doesn't move the project any further than where it's at today. And then what's going to happen, in my opinion, Little Gaming Channel, is that there's going to be more controversy, more drama, you know, more quote unquote obstacles, whether they're real or created in Umar Johnson's imagination, more excuses. Ain't nothing changed. This ain't nothing new. None of this is new. It'll be the same thing, or just a reset for this Wilmington school scam. And it'll just keep going and going and going until what? The wheels finally fall off. Okay. Now, real quick, in all fairness to Umar, on the other hand, if Umar does not come up with this money, or let's say he comes up with the money, but he says, listen, he ain't gonna tell people, but he gets the money, but he doesn't put it on these buildings so he can save these buildings. Well, what Umar would do is just keep the money. If the buildings go up for sale and they sell for a certain amount of price, and then the city takes the amount of money that they're owed, and I don't know whether or not the rest of the money goes back to Umar. Let's say that it does. If it goes back to Umar, well, he can walk away with $100,000, $200,000, maybe more than that, and there's a reset right there. See, either way, we'll cover it. Okay, but ultimately, what is it going to do? Delay the inevitable. Okay. Thank you, Little Gaming Channel, again for the super chat. Thanks for all your super chat. I really do appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Suave says, despite what your critics say, there is no expiration date on exposing corruption. Yeah, there's all types of excuses that people say. You know, you do too many videos. Yeah, but you know what? I'm not saying that I agree, but you know what? The same people who say that, they wouldn't know a tenth of what they know about Umar. I'm gonna say it, if it wasn't for me. Do I sound arrogant? Yeah. But is it the truth? Yeah, it's the truth. Again, have the spirit of gratitude. I'm trying to help you out. Okay. I'm talking to the critics. Okay. At the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference because I'm going to do what I know is right. See, you don't hear Umar talking like that. I'm going to do what's right. But I know this is right. See, I'm going to tell y'all one other thing. Because these Umar followers, they be saying some crazy stuff. One time they said, well, you know what? You doing this to Umar, you're going to get your karma too. And I never respond because in my mind, I'm very clear. I've already gotten karma. You guys have no idea the kind of shit I've been through and my family's been through. Not just my immediate family, but my extended family. You guys have no clue. Okay, I've talked about a little bit of it. All right. But there's something else I want people to understand. When it comes to Umar, I'm Umar's karma. Cookie Crush Chess, undefeated. Thank you, Swallow. We'll super chat. T says, did he ever produce annual reports on donations? No, he's never officially presented any type of accounting. That's why Pocket Watch with JT is so important. See? And as a nonprofit, there should be statements that should be available to the public, to his donors. And it should be public record. Umar doesn't do that. There's no board of directors. See, the board of directors, people on the board of directors, they would all have different responsibilities. And one of the responsibilities is to provide statements. It could be quarterly reports, right? Yearly reports. Is Umar doing that? Has he ever done that? No, he's never had. He never has, because ultimately the scam is the money, like I've been telling you. It's not about the school. I know we say the school scam, but really it's the money. That's where the scam is at. I think that's where not a lot, but there are some Umar Johnson followers who kind of are confused about that, because they say, well, he has these buildings in their schools. First of all, they're not schools. The schools are a place of learning. In this case, it'd be learning for children. No children have been educated to this point, 20 years into this, right? Secondarily, there are abandoned buildings on the vacant property list. That's why Umar is where he's at right now. These buildings can be taken away from him. Okay. But Umar, if he had a team, and he had a board of directors, they would have specific jobs that they would do. And one of the things would be the financial aspect of this and having transparency with the donors. But that's not what, so his donors kind of get this confused because they focus on the school. They say that it's a school. It's not a school. These are abandoned buildings, right? The real scam is the money. It's how he uses this idea of a school, which is nothing more than abandoned buildings that are on the vacant property. This is why he's in the trouble that he's in now. He uses that to get money out of people. So the scam is actually the money. See, the school is just the means. That's what I always say, is it's the carrot that he dangles in front of the donkey to make the donkey keep moving. And it keeps moving and moving and moving, but he keeps the carrot in front of this donkey, never producing anything. The donkey don't never get to eat the carrot. So what's the scam? Well, in this case, the analogy is that Umar's riding on the donkey's back. He get a free ride. Analogy. Translation, he get free money, which is a free ride. There you go. Okay. So no, he's never produced any annual reports. He's never produced any legitimate reports. So nothing professional, because he's not operating professionally. He's not dealing with professionals. He's a con man. Right? All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning on. T, thank you for the super chat. Also, Tampa Bay, thank you for the super chat. Some days, somebody said, we're my Clarence Thomas Africans. Y'all playing too much. Y'all stop playing. You know, I ain't been in this chat room for like an hour and a half. You know, it's a doggone shame. Okay, I'm so behind. Listen, tomorrow I'm going to do my best to live stream during the day. I have to get through at least part of Umar's dissertation. I'm off tomorrow. I'm gonna try my best. If I'm unable, it's possible that I'm not gonna have the time, but I'm gonna try my best to do that. That way we can get to what I really want to get into today, and we'll focus on that tomorrow if I have the time. But for sure, we're gonna have a special guest. We're gonna, Dear World Christian, we're gonna be going through Umar Johnson's dissertation. Dear World Christian is the first person, to the best of my knowledge, who's actually got a hold of it. And we're going to give our analysis of that dissertation. It won't be a long show, but we'll have him on, and you know, we'll get into that document. I have to read through it and take some notes before the show tomorrow. I'll set the show up tonight, and then Friday for you members, I have an extended video. It's about close to an hour long, and it is well, I don't want to say too much. It's the what is the term? Well, let me just say this, that I wouldn't play it on YouTube for the general public. I'll just say it that way. So you guys are going to get something that's going to blow your mind. I'll put it that way. That'll be on Friday. And then I'm going to do my best to have some shorter videos over the weekend to try to keep the streak alive of uploading something or doing a live stream every day this month. Dealing with Umar. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Thanks to everyone inside the Cookie Crush chat. Also, thanks to everyone who sent the super chats and all of the financial support. Thank you guys so much. I do not take it for granted. I'm very appreciative of that. I'm also thankful for everyone who are showing up. The numbers have been wonderful, and everyone who's subscribed and everyone who's hit that like button. Let me go ahead and close out this poll. The final tally, we had over 6,300 votes. My goodness. Why did Umar delete the video where he admitted that the FDMG vandals are about to be auctioned off? 7% said he was afraid of criticism. 11% said he knew people would see the lies, and a lot of people did. Go, y'all have some time. Go take a look at King Kong Conscience's YouTube page and go see where they posted that video. Look at the comment section. 14% said he exposed himself as a con man, which he did. And then overwhelmingly, 67% said all of the above. I'm going to go with all of the above. Okay. Thanks to everyone who voted on that poll. I'm going to go ahead and close that out so that it's archived here inside of the chat room. And thanks to the mods, too, for handling business. Okay, I appreciate that as well. There's a couple other super chats. Okay, I got this one. Thank you, T. Tampa, I got that one as well. And then Derek says, you damn sure stopped me from donating. Thanks, you're so welcome. I'm saving a lot of people some money and help them to keep their pockets books safe. So that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, that's another public service right there. Okay, thanks, Derek, for the super chat, and everyone else. Thank you for super stickers, everything else. I appreciate it. I do have an outro, and I haven't played this one in a long time. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play it for you guys here. Okay, shout out to the Cookie Crush chat again. I hope you all enjoyed the show. If you did and you haven't hit that like button, go and hit that like button. I definitely appreciate it. All right, and as we always do. And so, as I close out, go and get ready to play that song. Hold on, got the keyboardist. He's gonna play that song. Hold on. As I close, I just want to welcome him to this house. I don't even remember this one. Even though he been scamming and skeezing. I said he been scamming and skeezing. Sí, señor, ¿cómo está? No, I got this. I said, even though he been scamming and scheming, he's still right there. No, don't start. Don't start saying, because we ain't done. We got a problem. We gonna deal with this tonight. Because we need to go on and play that. Go on and play. All right, I forgot about that one. Thank y'all again for tuning on in. Cookie Crush Chats Undefeated. I appreciate y'all. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow with a special guest. Cookie Crush Chats Undefeated. Let's go. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. What are you talking about? It's coming. Boy, y'all crazy. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Here we go. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, it's coming. Yeah, that's my alarm sound too. I'm sorry. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking. What's up, everybody, man? Well, this chat room was active tonight. Well, I couldn't even keep up. Thank you guys so much for tuning on. And please enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back with a live stream tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some live stream in earlier on in the day, but don't hold me to that. But for sure, we'll have a live stream. We have a special guest tomorrow. We're going to be going over Umar's dissertation. Okay, so I got some research to do on that and take some notes and highlight some stuff on that too before we do that show. Thank you all again for tuning on in. Listen, I said it in the beginning. I'm going to say it again. I appreciate y'all. Okay, I love y'all. I appreciate you all. My family's appreciative too. Okay, Cookie Crush Chat is definitely undefeated. All right. Y'all take care. Peace.